जय हिंद दोस्तों, फिर से आपका स्वागत है हमारे इस वाजीराम एंड रवि के प्रीलिम्स की रिवीजन सीरीज़ में। यह हमारा मास्टर वीडियो होने वाला होगा जो करीब 2 सवा 2 घंटे का होगा और ये हमारा तीसरा मास्टर वीडियो होगा। अगर आप लोगों ने पहले के 2 मास्टर वीडियो नहीं देखे हैं तो आप लोग जाइए, लिंक मैं डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में डाल दूँगा, आप लोग से ज़रूर चेक करें। और आपसे बस ये अनुरोध है कि अगर आप लोग हमारे चैनल पर नए हैं और अभी तक हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो प्लीज़ 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 इसे सब्सक्राइब करके हमें सपोर्ट करें। वीडियो को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर करें उन लोगों तक जो इस बार का यूपीएससी प्री देने वाले हैं या फिर बीपीएससी देने वाले हैं या यूपीएससी यूपीपीसीएस देने वाले हैं या कोई भी पीसीएस एग्जाम देने वाला है जहाँ पे करंट अफेयर पूछा जाता है, तो उन तक इस वीडियो को जरूर पहुँचाएं ताकि वो भी इस वीडियो का लाभ उठा सकें। और अगर आप लोग हमारे चैनल पर नए हैं और अभी तक हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब करें। और यह मास्टर वीडियो हमारे पिछले वीडियोज़ का कंपाइलेशन होगा जो करीब 2-3 वीडियो का कंपाइलेशन होगा, तो यह 2 सवा 2 घंटे का टोटल हो जाएगा वीडियो। तो आप लोग इसे ज़रूर देखें और जितना ज़्यादा बार देखेंगे उतना ही अच्छा आपका रिवीजन होगा, उतना ही अच्छा आप लोग एग्जाम में परफॉर्म कर पाएंगे। तो आइए शुरू करते हैं आज का हमारा मास्टर वीडियो। जय हिंद दोस्तों, फिर से आपका स्वागत है हमारे इस वाजीराम एंड रवि के प्रीलिम्स की रिवीजन सीरीज़ में जो कि 2024 के लिए निकाला हुआ या पार्ट 1 है। मई 2023 से लेकर दिसंबर 2023 तक का, और पार्ट 2 आने वाला है इसका जल्द ही, और तब तक हम लोग यह पूरा बुक समाप्त कर लेंगे। तो आप लोगों को जैसे पता ही है, डेट 26 मई 2024 है प्रीलिम्स का, तो आप लोग उसके लिए लगे होंगे और हम भी आपका साथ देने के लिए यह सीरीज़ शुरू कर रहे हैं। तो अगर आप लोगों ने पहले की वीडियोज़ नहीं देखे हैं तो आप इस प्लेलिस्ट में इसका लिंक दिया हुआ है, जाइए आप इसके प्लेलिस्ट में देखिए, डिस्क्रिप्शन में लिंक है। और आपसे बस ये अनुरोध है कि आप अगर हमारे चैनल पर नए हैं और अभी तक हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो प्लीज़ 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 इसे सब्सक्राइब करके हमें सपोर्ट करें और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बार रिवाइज करें ताकि आपका रिवीजन अच्छे से हो सके और आप लोग एग्जाम में अच्छा परफॉर्म कर सकें। अगर आपके नज़र में कोई और आपके दोस्त, फ्रेंड, मित्र या कोई भी हैं जो इस बार प्रीलिम्स देने वाले हैं तो उन तक इस वीडियो को जरूर पहुँचाएं ताकि वो आप इससे लाभान्वित हो सके और अपनी तैयारी को और मजबूत कर सके। आज हमारा शुरू होने वाला है यहाँ से टॉपिक रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ बर्थ एंड डेथ अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 2023। यह बाइलिंगुअल होने वाला है, तो आप लोग बिल्कुल भी टेंशन नहीं लें, आराम से बस वीडियो को सुनते रहें और रिवीजन करते रहें। आइए शुरू करते हैं। बस शुरू करने से पहले फिर से ये अनुरोध रहेगा कि अगर आप लोग हमारे चैनल पर नए हैं और अभी तक हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो प्लीज़ 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 इसे सब्सक्राइब करके हमें सपोर्ट करें। आइए शुरू करते हैं। रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ बर्थ एंड डेथ अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 2023 की फीचर्स ऑफ द एक्ट क्या क्या है देख लेते हैं। द एक्ट गिव्स द रजिस्ट्रार जनरल ऑफ इंडिया द पावर टू मैनेज a national birth and death registry while chief registrar maintain comparable databases at the state level. Chief registrar appointed by state and registrar appointed by state for local areas will be required to contribute data to this national database. The act provides digital registration and electronic delivery of certificates of birth and death. The act requires certain person to report birth and death to the registrar. For example, the medical officer in charge of a hospital where a baby is born must report the birth. The act permits the Registrar General of India to share the birth and death database with agencies in charge of maintaining other databases such as voters rolls, population register, Aadhaar number, etc. The act requires the use of birth and death certificate to prove the data and place of birth for persons born on or after the act comes into effect. This information will be used for purposes including admission to an educational institution, preparation of voters list, appointment to the government post, and any other purpose determined by the central government. It will be compulsory for a state to register birth and death of the Central Civil Registrar System (CRS) portal and share data with the RGI. The Registrar General of India comes with the ambit of Ministry of Home Affairs. अगला टॉपिक है सेडिशन। Section 124A of Indian Penal Code penalize a crime against the state. Sedition refers to any act of attempt to bring hatred or contempt towards the government established by law in India, or to incite dissatisfaction or resistance against it. Punishment under 124A. Sedition is a non-bailable offence. A person charged under this law cannot apply for government job. They have to live without the passport. Upon conviction, the person can be punished with either life imprisonment and a fine, or imprisonment for up to 3 years and a fine or just a fine. Supreme Court on Sedition Law. In 1962, the Supreme Court in Kedarnath Singh versus State of Bihar upheld the constitutional validity of IPC Section 124A. However, the court attempted to restrict its scope for misuse. The court held that unless accompanied by an incitement or call for violence, criticism of the government cannot be labeled sedition. In Balwant Singh versus State of Punjab 1995 case, Supreme Court held that merely shouting slogan, in this case Khalistan Jindabad, does not amount to sedition. Recent update क्या है? तो the 22nd Law Commission has urged the sedition law need to be retained by certain amendments should be made for greater clarity regarding its urge. It has recommended to include the ratio of the Kedarnath ruling in the sedition law provision. Section 126 of Indian Evidence Act about it deals with the burden of proof in case where a fact is within the special knowledge of a person and states that when any fact is within the knowledge of any person, the burden of providing the fact is upon that person. एग्जाम्पल में क्या है? तो इमेजिन ए सिचुएशन वेयर एन ओपोजिशन पॉलिटिकल पार्टी एलाइज widespread election fraud during a recent election and claim to have evidence of such fraud. In this case, Section 126 can be applied. The burden of proving election fraud rests with the opposition party, as they are the one making the claim. Since they ally have evidence of fraud, they have a responsibility to present that evidence to substantiate the allegation. It applies to civil and criminal cases alike and laws down an important principle of evidence. The burden of proof under Section 106 is not absolute, and the person who has special knowledge of the fact is only required to prove it to the extent that that is responsible in the circumstances. The person is not required to prove the fact beyond any doubt, but only to the extent that a responsible person would believe it to be true. Suspension of MPs. Recently, the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha suspended 141 opposition MPs for disrupting parliamentary proceeding while protesting parliament security breach. By whom? The presiding officer, that is the speaker in the case of Lok Sabha and the chairman in case of Rajya Sabha, play a major role in suspending the MPs following same process. To guarantee the appropriate conduct of proceeding, the speaker या chairman possesses the authority to compel a member to leave the house. Process of suspension क्या है? तो general rule है, the presiding officer can direct the MP to withdraw from the house for any disorderly conduct in accordance with the rule of procedure and conduct of business of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. To deal with more reluctant या uncooperative, if it does not work and the said MP continues to disrupt the House proceeding, the presiding officer can name the legislator, post which the House can move a motion to suspend the MP until the end of the session. Introduction of automatic suspension. ये कब हुआ था? The Lok Sabha further empowered the speaker in 2001 to deal with grave and disorderly conduct under the new rule, which states that MP named by the speaker shall automatically stand suspended for a period of 5 days or the remaining part of the session without any need of the House to pass a motion for suspension. This provision has not been incorporated in the proceeding of Rajya Sabha. This means, unlike Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha cannot suspend its member without passing a motion for the time. Types of punishment for misconduct. A person found guilty of breach of privilege or contempt of House may be punished in either by imprisonment or by abmotion या warning or reprimand. Two other punishment may also be awarded to the members for contempt, namely suspension or expulsion for the House. Difference between exclusion and disqualification. While an expelled member, this result in the MP losing their seats in Parliament, can contest the elections against and get re-elected as an MP in the next term. A disqualified MP cannot do so. While the reasons for an MP's disqualification can include mental unsoundness and getting convicted in a criminal case. Can the courts intervene? Although parliamentary proceedings are protected for judicial scrutiny under Article 122 of the Constitution, courts have at times intervened the procedural function of legislator. Immunity to parliament proceeding. क्या क्या देख लेते हैं? तो आर्टिकल 122 provides immunity to parliamentary proceeding from a challenge in court. It states that validity of any proceeding in parliament cannot be called into question on the ground of any alleged irregularity of procedure. It also provides immunity to any officer or member of parliament in whom power are vested by or under this constitution for regulating procedure or the conduct of business, or for maintaining order in parliament from action in any court with respect to the exercise by whom of this power. MLA faces disqualification after conviction. Recently, the Tamil Nadu Higher Education Minister has convicted a disappropriate asset case under Prevention of Corruption Act PCA. The MLA now faced the risk of disqualification from the Legislative Assembly. Disqualification of member of Legislative Assembly MLA. An MLA can be disqualified through Article 191 of the Constitution, Article 102 in case of member of Parliament for holding an office of profit, being of unsound mind or insolvent or not having valid citizenship, through the 10th schedule of the Constitution, that is under the anti-defection law, if the MP or MLA पहला voluntarily give up his membership for a political party, दूसरा disobey the direction of his political party or votes or does not vote in the legislature contrary to the direction of his political party, third है joins another political party after the election, और fourth है join any political party 6 months after becoming an MLA in case of nominated members. Under the following provision of Representation of People Act RPA 1951, तो उसके अंदर क्या है, तो सेक्शन 8 ऑफ द RPA which deal with disqualification for conviction of offence such as क्या क्या है, तो promoting enmity between two groups, barbarity or undue influence or personation at any election, section 8 clause 1, hoarding or profiting adulteration of food or drugs, and for conviction and sentence of at least 6 months for an offence under any provision of the Dowry Prohibition Act section 8 clause 2. If sentenced to imprisonment for not less than 2 years, section 8 clause 3, he disqualified from the date of such conviction and shall continue to be disqualified for a further period of 6 years since his release. A disqualification takes place only after 3 months from the date of conviction. Within this period of 3 months, the convicted MLA can file an appeal against the conviction in a high court. Section 1 clause 4. This provision was struck down by the Supreme Court in the Lily Thomas versus Union of India 213 case. Section 9 deal with disqualification for dismissal for corruption or disloyalty and for entering government conducts where while being a lawmaker. Section 10 क्या है, तो disqualification for office under government company. Section 11 तो removal or reduction of period of disqualification. Can the disqualification be reversed? A disqualification can be reversed if a high court grants a stay on the conviction or gives a decision in the favor of the convicted MLA. A stay or conviction is important before filing an appeal for preventing disqualification. अगला हमारा हेडिंग है जुडिशरी. तो जुडिशरी के अंदर जितना भी हुआ करंट अफेयर में वो देख लेते हैं. तो उसमें पहला है फोरम शॉपिंग. उसमें देख लेते हैं, तो द चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया रिसेंटली डिनाइड परमिशन फॉर फोरम शॉपिंग टू ए litigant appearing before him. Forum shopping is when litigants or lawyers deliberately try to move their case to a particular judge or court, expecting that this would turn the judgment into their favor. Types क्या है, तो domestic, when a litigant chooses between two or more courts within a country. Transnational क्या है, तो when a litigant chooses between the court of two or more countries. Global scenario क्या है, the US and UK court have criticized the practice of forum shopping as something to be avoided or prohibited. Indian judicial have condemned this practice and termed it as an abuse of law. Next is arbitration and conciliation. Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. The act represented a significant improvement over prior arbitration law in India, including the Arbitration Act of the 1940s, the Arbitration Act of 1937 and the Foreign Award Act of 1961. This legislation covers international commercial arbitration, domestic arbitration, and the informants or foreign attribute arbitral award. It draws inspiration from the model law of the United Nations and allies with the legal framework adopted by United Nations Commission on International Trade Law UNCITRAL. Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Act 2019. The amendment aims to establish an independent body called the Arbitration Council of India (ACI) to promote arbitration, mediation, conciliation, and other alternative dispute resolution mechanism. Arbitration Council of India (ACI). According to the Constitution of India, specifically Article 51, under the directive principle of state policy, India is obliged to encourage the settlement of international disputes through arbitration. The creation of ACI is a step towards fulfilling this constitutional obligation. ACI will be led by a chairperson who must have served as a judge of the Supreme Court, a Chief Justice or a judge of High Court, or an eminent person appointed by central government in consultation with the Chief Justice of India. Additionally, ACI will have full-time two full-time members selected from distinguished arbitration practitioner and academician. Difference between arbitration and conciliation. Conciliation क्या है देख लेते हैं. तो conciliation is an adversarial process that aims to facilitate dialogue and promote a mutually adaptable resolution between parties. A conciliator is a neutral third party who asserts practices in identifying issues, exploring options, and reaching a settlement without imposing a decision. Conciliation results in a settlement agreement between parties, which is a contract that requires voluntary compliance. If either party fails to fulfill its obligation to other party, may seek remedies through court proceeding. Arbitration क्या है? तो arbitration is an adversarial process where parties present their case to arbitrate, who make a binding arbitral award, advocating for a non-interventionist role by judge to oversee prosecution and prove their case. The arbitrator served as a private judge, interpreting evidence, considering arguments, and delivering an enforceable decision. Arbitrator awards are legally binding decisions that can be enforced in court, with the losing party being required to comply with the terms of the award. Next is National Judicial Data Grid and Portal. Context क्या है? तो real-time data on the filing of disposal of cases in the Supreme Court will now be available through the National Judicial Data Grid (NJDG). The NJDG SCI Supreme Court of India portal will include the following data: the current pending case, civil and criminal cases filed and disposed in the previous month, number of cases pending before 3 judge, 5 judge, and even 9 judge benches. About क्या है तो देख लेते हैं. It is the national data repository aligned with the National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy (NDSAP), created in 2015 under the e-court project, and contain detail of orders, cases, civil and criminal, and judgment of district and subordinate courts, high court, and allow real-time data updation by connected district and taluka court. NJDG was built as part of phase 2 of the e-court project, which is centrally sponsored scheme. Developer, the National Informatics Center (NIC) and Computer Cell, Supreme Court Registry. The NIC was established in 1976 and is under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Maitri, the NIC provides IT services, infrastructure, and consultancy to central and state government. E-court project. Next topic our is e-court project. इसके अंदर देखते हैं about में क्या है. The e-court mission mode project is a centrally sponsored scheme launched in 2006 and is a part of the National e-governance plan, monitored and funded by Department of Judiciary, Ministry of Law and Justice for the district court across the country. Implementation. The Supreme Court is responsible for its policy planning, strategic direction, and implementation. Phase 1 में क्या हुआ? तो launched in 2007. During this phase, पहला computer server room and judicial service center were prepared for computerization of the district court and district court website were launched. दूसरा, judicial officer and court staff were trained under change management exercises to use computer and case information system (CIS). Phase 2 में क्या है? तो it is approved in 2015. During this phase, पहला, uncovered court of phase 1 and newly established court were provided with new hardware system per courtroom and LAN connectivity etc. दूसरा, National Judicial Data Grid was launched for providing case details and status online of all the district and high court of India. Phase 3 में तो recently approved and its proposes to पहला, to assure in a regime of maximum ease of justice by moving toward digital, online and paperless courts through digitalization of the entire court records including legacy records. दूसरा है implement a smart scheduling system to recommend an appropriate schedule for listing case based on availability of judges, lawyers, witnesses, nature of the case and case load of the judge. न्याय बंधु प्रोग्राम, तो इस प्रोग्राम के अंदर देखें क्या है. न्याय बंधु प्रोग्राम was launched in 2017 and is being implemented by National Legal Service Authority NALSA. It provides legal aid in a variety of areas including civil, criminal and family law. The program also provides legal aid to people who are facing discrimination or who are being denied their basic rights. It is a mobile application which provides pro bono legal service to the one who are unable to afford legal advice and or cannot accede legal aid. Pro bono is a Latin word which means for the public good. Using this application, practicing lawyers will be able to register themselves and connect with registered beneficiaries, providing them services for free or at a minimal cost and present them with an opportunity to address their legal problem meaningfully. It also provides the feature of tracking case status. It utilizes the scheme optimally. Department of Justice has proposed setting up a pro bono panel of lawyers at each high court. दिशा स्कीम क्या है, तो दिस स्कीम लॉन्च्ड फॉर अ पीरियड ऑफ 5 years 2021 to 2026 to advance the cause of access to justice. It aims to design and consolidate various initiatives to provide citizen-centric delivery of legal services. There are 3 components under दिशा at present. पहला है न्याय बंधु प्रोग्राम, दूसरा है तेली लॉ और तीसरा है लीगल अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम. यहाँ पर देख लेते हैं अबाउट लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी एक्ट 1987. तो इसमें क्या है, it establishes National Legal Service Authority, State Legal Service Authority and District Level Legal Service Authority to पहला provide free and competent legal services to the weaker section of the society और दूसरा it ensures the opportunity to securing justice are not denied to any citizen due to economic or other disabilities. It organizes Lok Adalat to ensure that the operation of the legal system promotes justice on a basis of equal opportunity. सेक्शन 12 क्या है, तो सेक्शन 12 ऑफ द एक्ट स्पेसिफाइज द क्राइटेरिया टू सेलेक्ट द पर्सन इंटाइटल टू रिसीव फ्री लीगल एड एंड सर्विसेज. इट इंक्लूड्स, तो 8 पॉइंट्स है, देख लेते कौन कौन सा है. मेंबर ऑफ शेड्यूल कास्ट एंड शेड्यूल ट्राइब्स, विक्टिम ऑफ ट्रैफिकिंग इन ह्यूमन बीइंग और बेगर एज referred in Article 23 of the Constitution, woman or a child, person with disability, person in custody, an industrial workman, victim of a mass disaster, ethnic violence, caste atrocity, flood, drought, earthquake or industrial disaster, person with annual income less than as specified under the law. Next scheme is special level petition, स्पेशल लीव पिटिशन. तो उसमें देख लेते हैं क्या क्या है पिटिशन में. अबाउट में अंडर आर्टिकल 136 ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन द सुप्रीम कोर्ट में इन इट्स डिस्क्रेशन ग्रांट अ स्पेशल लीव टू एन एग्रीवेड पार्टी टू अपील अगेंस्ट एनी जुडिशियल जजमेंट, डिग्री, डिटर्मिनेशन, सेंटेंस और ऑर्डर इश्यूड इन अ केस सिविल और क्रिमिनल बाई एनी कोर्ट और ट्रिब्यूनल except a military court or a court martial order. This petition is known as special petition leave. An interim or interlocutory order, decree or judgment can also be challenged. It need not to be final. Condition क्या है, तो it can only be exercised in case of substantial question of law or gross injustice. Time limit क्या है, तो it must be fulfilled within 90 days from the date of High Court judgment or within 60 days against the order of the High Court refusing to grant the certificate of fitness for appeal to the Supreme Court. यहाँ पे पिटिशन देख लेते हैं. 3 तरह का पिटिशन है. पर्पस क्या है, इन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल और इनोवेशन और फीचर्स इसका क्या है. तो स्पेशल लीव पिटिशन पर्पस इसका क्या है, टू अपील अगेंस्ट अ डिसीजन ऑफ एनी लोअर कोर्ट और ट्रिब्यूनल. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में देख लेते हैं इसका क्या है, तो अंडर आर्टिकल 136 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन फीचर क्या है, तो इट इज़ नॉट एन अपील बाय राइट बट इट इज़ ग्रांटेड एज अ डिस्क्रिशन ऑफ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट. रिव्यू पिटिशन देख लेते हैं, तो पर्पस इसका फॉर करेक्टिंग एरर्स एंड एड्रेसिंग न्यू एविडेंस। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में देख लेते हैं, तो अंडर आर्टिकल 136 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज़ द पावर टू रिव्यू एनी ऑफ इट्स जजमेंट और ऑर्डर। फीचर क्या है, तो ए रिव्यू पिटिशन हैज़ टू बी फाइल्ड विद इन 30 डे ऑफ द डेट ऑफ जजमेंट और ऑर्डर। अगला देख लेते हैं, क्यूरेटिव पिटिशन ए लास्ट रिजॉर्ट रेमेडी। पर्पस टू सीक रिलीफ व्हेन देयर इज ए परसीव्ड वायलेंस ऑफ द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ नेचुरल जस्टिस। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में देख लेते हैं क्या है, तो इवॉल्व बाय द सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया इन रूपा अशोक हुर्रा वर्सेस अशोक हुर्रा एंड अदर केसेस 2002। फीचर में क्या है, तो ए क्यूरेटिव पिटिशन में बी फाइल्ड आफ्टर ए रिव्यू प्ली अगेंस्ट द फाइनल कन्विक्शन इज dismissed and it must be rare rather than regular। रेट jurisdiction of high court, तो रेट क्या है देख लेते हैं। आर्टिकल 32 राइट टू कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रेमेडी एंड आर्टिकल 226 प्रोवाइड रेमेडी फॉर द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ द फंडामेंटल राइट्स ऑफ अ सिटीजन बाय empowering the Supreme Court and High Court respectively to issue writ when a fundamental right of a citizen is violated। High courts have the right to issue writs within the territory of the concerned state and to any government authority or person outside their territorial jurisdiction if the whole or part of the cause of action arises in their state of concern। High courts can issue writ not only for the enforcement of fundamental rights but also for non-fundamental rights। Legal rights क्या है, तो where as the Supreme Court can issue writs only in case of violation of fundamental rights। The remedy provides under Article 226 of the Constitution is a discretionary remedy of the court and thereby cannot be claimed as a matter of rights। In case of enforcement of fundamental rights, the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court is original but not exclusive। It is concurrent with the jurisdiction of High Court under Article 226। टाइप्स ऑफ रिट यहाँ पे देख लेते हैं क्या है, 5 तरह का रिट्स है। पर्पस क्या है, इशू व्हेन होता है और फाइनल इफेक्ट इसका क्या होता है। तो पहला हैबियस कॉर्पस मीनिंग टू हैव अ बॉडी ऑफ। पर्पस इसका क्या है, टू प्रोटेक्ट एन इंडिविजुअल्स पर्सनैलिटी लिबर्टी। इशू व्हेन कब इशू हो जाता है, तो ए पर्सन इज अनलॉफुली डिटेन्ड जब होता है। तो फाइनल इफेक्ट क्या है, तो लीड्स टू द रिलीज ऑफ द डिटेनी इफ डिटेंशन इज फाउंड टू बी इलीगल। दूसरा रिट है मैंडेमस मीनिंग वी कमांड। पर्पस इसका क्या है, टू कंपेल ए पब्लिक अथॉरिटी और ऑफिसर टू परफॉर्म ए पब्लिक ड्यूटी। कब इशू किया जाता है, तो ए पब्लिक ऑफिसर फेल टू परफॉर्म ए पब्लिक ड्यूटी। फाइनल इफेक्ट क्या है, तो इंश्योर दैट गवर्नमेंटल एक्शंस आर इन अकॉर्डेंस विथ लीगल ऑब्लिगेशन। तीसरा है क्यू वारंटो मीनिंग बाई व्हाट अथॉरिटी। पर्पस इसका क्या है, टू इंक्वायर इनटू द लीगैलिटी ऑफ ए पर्सन होल्डिंग अ पब्लिक ऑफिस। कब इशू किया जाता है, तो ए पर्सन इज होल्डिंग ऑफिस बट इज नॉट entitled to hold that office। फाइनल इफेक्ट क्या है, तो determines if a person is qualified to hold that office। प्रोहिबिशन कभी इसका पर्पस क्या है, तो टू प्रिवेंट ए लॉ कोर्ट लोअर कोर्ट ट्राइब्यूनल और अथॉरिटी फ्रॉम एक्सीडिंग इट्स जुरिस्डिक्शन। इसका कब इशू किया जाता है, तो ए लोअर कोर्ट एक्ट्स आउटसाइड द स्कोप ऑफ इट्स लीगल अथॉरिटी। फाइनल इफेक्ट क्या है, तो हॉल्ट्स द प्रोसाइडिंग ऑफ द लोअर कोर्ट एक्टिंग अनविलिंगली। अगला है क्रेडिटरी मीनिंग टू बी सर्टिफाइड और टू बी इन्फॉर्म्ड। ये पर्पस क्या है, तो टू क्वेश द ऑर्डर डिसीजन और जजमेंट ऑफ लोअर कोर्ट ट्रिब्यूनल और क्वासी जुडिशियल बॉडी। कब इशू किया जाता है, तो ए डिसीजन इज ट्रेंड बाई लीगलिटी बाइसिस और लैक्स जुरिस्डिक्शन। फाइनल इफेक्ट क्या है, तो अलाउज फॉर द रिव्यू ऑफ लोअर कोर्ट डिसीजन एंड देयर एन्यूलमेंट इफ अनलॉफुल। अगला है ऑल इंडिया जुडिशियल सर्विसेज। Addressing the Supreme Court Constitution Day celebration November 26, President called for an all India judicial service to recruit judges to help make the judiciary diverse। About all India judicial services, Article 312 of Constitution provide for the establishment of all India judicial services AIJS along the lines of central civil services। Under AIJS, the judges of lower judiciary will be recruited centrally and then assigned to states, just as the Union Public Service Commission conduct the central recruitment process and assign successfully candidates to cadres like the present All India Service and such as AIS or and IPS। The AIJS will not include any post inferior to that of a district judge। A district judge defined in Article 236 can include a city civic court judge, additional district judge, joint district judge, assistant district judge, chief judge of a small case court, Chief Presiding Magistrate, Additional Chief Presiding Magistrate, Session Judge, Additional Session Judge and Assistant Session Judge. प्रोसेस क्या है? तो द 42nd कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट in 1976 aimed amended Article 312 Clause 1 of Constitution and empowered the Parliament to make laws for the creation of one or more All India services. Accordingly, under Article 312 Clause 1 of Constitution, if a resolution supported by at least two-thirds of its members present and voting is passed by Rajya Sabha demanded to create a service in national interest, then the Parliament may create AJIS common to the Union and the states by simple majority, amending Article 233 and Article 234 and regulate the recruitment and service conduction of person appointed into any such services. Article 233 deals with the appointment of district judge in state. Article 234 for subordinate judge officers deal with the appointment of person other than district judge to the judicial services. Amendment of the Constitution under Article 368 is not required. Our next topic heading is institution and bodies. तो कौन कौन सा इंस्टीट्यूशन बॉडी है देख लेते हैं. तो पहला है लॉ कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया. ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है इसका? टू रिफॉर्म लॉज फॉर मैक्सिमाइजिंग जस्टिस in society and promoting good governance under the rule of law, to carry out research in the field of law. Function क्या है? The review aims to repeal obsolete law, examine socio-economic legislation affecting the poor, and ensure the judicial administration is responsive to current demand. It also examines existing law in light of state policy directives and suggests improvement and reform. The review also focuses on promoting gender equality and proposing amendments. The review also aims to simplify central acts and remove anomalies. The review also examines the impact of globalization of food security and unemployment and recommends measures to protect the interest of marginalized group. It is a non-statutory body constituted by Indian government. From the time to time, it works as an advisory body to the Ministry of Law and Justice and consists of Law Commission of India. क्या क्या है? तो पहला है a full time chairperson. दूसरा 4 full time member including member secretary. तीसरा है secretary Department of Legal Affairs as ex officio member. फोर्थ है secretary Legislative Department as ex officio member. फिफ्थ है not more than 5 part time member. The current law commission, that is 22nd law commission, was appointed in 2020 for a period of 3 years, which is extended up to August 2024. Historical background क्या है? तो it was first established during the British Raj era in 1834 by the Charles Charter Act of 1833 and was chaired by Lord Macaulay. First independent law commission was created in 1955 for a period of 3 years and was headed by MC Stilward, also the first Attorney General of India. अगला सेंट्रल ब्यूरो ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन CBI. Central Bureau of Investigation CBI is the premier non-statutory investigate agency of India established in 1963 on the recommendation of Santhanam Committee on Prevention of Corruption. It derives its power from Delhi Special Police Establishment. It provides assistance to the Central Vigilance Commission CVC and Lokpal. It is also the nodal police agency in India which coordinates investigation on behalf of Interpol member countries at international level. Control क्या है? तो it operates under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pension, but for investigating offence under the Prevention of Corruption Act, it vests superintendence of the CVC to the CVC. Function क्या है? तो it was set up to investigate corruption in government department and public sector undertaking. However, over the years, its jurisdiction has expanded to cover a wide range of cases, including economic offence, cybercrime, organized crime, and special crimes. Director क्या है? तो he is responsible for the administration of CBI and is appointed by the Centre on the recommendation of a 3-member appointment committee. It comprises of the Supreme Court of the Prime Minister as the chairperson, the leader of opposition LOP in the Lok Sabha, and the Chief Justice of India or a Supreme Court judge nominated by him. If there is no recognized LOP, then the leader of the single largest party is included. The Supreme Court in 2019 mandated that no official with less than 6 month tenure remaining can be considered for the post of CBI chief, and that the director will remain in office for not less than 2 years and can be transferred only with the consent of appointing committee. General consent क्या है तो सेक्शन 6 of the act makes it mandatory for the CBI to take prior approval from the concerned state government before proceeding with any investigation in that state. This consent can be either case specific or general and is given by the states to help the CBI conduct seamless investigation of corruption cases. When a state gives a general consent to the CBI for proving a case, the agency is not required to seek fresh permission every time it enters that state in connection with the investigation or for every case. In contrast, if the CBI does not have the general consent of a state government, it is required to apply for consent on a case-by-case basis and cannot act before the consent is given. सुप्रीम ऑडिट इंस्टीट्यूशन SAI कंटेस्ट क्या है तो सुप्रीम ऑडिट इंस्टीट्यूशन SAI 20 summit conducted in Goa under India's G20 presidency. It focused on collaborating on sharing the best practices, capacities building and development of appropriate auditing guidelines and accountable toolkits for auditing national priorities. टू priority area कौन कौन सा था? पहला ब्लू इकोनॉमी, focuses on conserving and using oceans, sea and marine resource for sustainable development. और दूसरा क्या है? रिस्पॉन्सिबल आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस enable the detection of fraud, automates reductant auditing and identifies higher risk transition. About Supreme Audit Institution SAI, they are independent non-national level public oversight bodies which audit government revenue and expenditure. They provide an assurance that the resources are being used as prescribed by scrutinizing public finance, the management and submitting a report on the same. They derive their mandate from the Constitution or a legislation. Comptroller and Auditor General of the India's SAI function क्या है? To undertake financial audit of accounting proceeding, financial statements of an organization and compliance audits, review the legally to transition made by the audited body, conducting performance audit to scrutinize three E's: efficiency, effectiveness and economy of government undertaking. International Organization of Supreme Audit Institution INTOSAI. INTOSAI operates as an umbrella organization for the External Government Audit Committee. INTOSAI is an autonomous, independent and non-political organization. Nearly every SAI from an UN member country is a member of INTOSAI. INTOSAI has a number of bodies and organs, including committees and working group, which examine specific issues on relevance to SAIs, such as professional standard, environmental audit, and capacity building. INTOSAI services as a forum for SAI worldwide to exchange experience and work collectively to improve public sector accountability and transparency. National Commission for Scheduled Caste NCSC. NCSC is a constitutional body under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, established to provide safeguard against the exploitation for scheduled caste and Anglo-Indian Committee to promote and protect their social, educational and economic and cultural interest. Article 338 contains provisions for NCSC, Article 338A for NCST and Article 338B for NCBC. By 89th Amendment Act 2003, the Article 338 या 338 was amended, introduced Article 338A, and the erstwhile National Commission for Scheduled SC and ST was replaced by two separate commissions, NCSC and NCST, from 2004. The 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act 2018 provides constitutional status, introduced Article 338B to National Commission for Backward Class NCBC. The first commission for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes was set up in August 1978. It functions from its headquarters in Delhi and consists of a chairman, vice chairman, and 3 other members. The central and state government are required to consult NCSC on all policy matters affecting the SC's duty and functions. The Commission investigates and monitors safeguards provided for scheduled caste under the Constitution, investigate complaints about deprivation of rights and practices in socio-economic development plan. It evaluates progress and presents reports to the President annually as needed. The Commission recommended measures for effective implementation of safeguard and other measures for the protection, welfare, and socio-economic development for scheduled caste. It also discharges other functions related to the protection, welfare, and development of scheduled caste as specified by the President or any law or rule made by Parliament. Similar functions are required for Anglo-Indian committees. पावर क्या है तो NCSC has the authority to regulate its own procedure and has all the power of the civil court when investigating matter or complaints. It can summon and enforce witnesses, require document discovery and production, revive evidence on affidavits, request public records, issue summons from witness examination, and investigate other matters determined by the President. Digital Publisher Content Grievances Council. कंटेस्ट क्या है तो द डिजिटल पब्लिशर कंटेंट ग्रीवांसेस काउंसिल DPCGC recently recommended punitive action on an OTT platform invoking the Information Technology Rules 2021. About the Digital Publisher Content Grievances Council DPCGC, it is an independent self-regulatory body for online curated content OCC provider. It was set up under the aegis of Internet and Mobile Association of India IAMAI. DPCGC has been reconsidered and registered by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting as Level 2 self-regulatory body for publisher of OCC provider under Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rule 2021. The DPCGC has an online curated content publisher OCCP council composed of publisher of OCC as member and an independent grievances redressal board GRB consisting of a chairperson and 6 members. The GRB will be chaired by a retired Supreme Court High Court judge and the member will comprise eminent persons from the media and entertainment industry and experts from various fields including child rights, minority rights, and media law. Function of GRB: it will oversee and ensure the alignment and adherence to the Code of Ethics by the OCCP council members, provided guidance to entitles on the Code of Ethics, address grievances that have not been resolved by the publisher within 15 days. Here grievances appeal filed for complaints. DPCGC through the GRB aim to issue in a redressal mechanism which will ensure a balance between addressing viewer complaints and showcasing contest in fresh speech environment without ad hoc intervention. अगला है इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट ED. तो आइए देख लेते हैं इसके बारे में ED के बारे में भी. The Enforcement Directorate was established in the year 1956 as an enforcement unit under the Department of Economic Affairs. Later, in 1957, the unit was renamed as Enforcement Directorate. Administrative control क्या है तो presently it is under the administrative control of the Department of Revenue under the Ministry of Finance for operational purposes. Function क्या है तो ED is responsible for enforcement of Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999 FEMA and content provision under the PMLA. ED has the power to attach the asset of the culprit found guilty for the violation of FEMA. It has also been empowered to undertake search, seize, arrest, prosecution act and survey etc. against the offence committed under PMLA. Appointment of Directorate of ED. The ED Director is appointed by the central government of the recommendation of a committee chaired by Central Vigilance Commissioner and members comprising a Vigilance Commission, Home Secretary, DOPT and Revenue Secretary. Next is Commission for Scientific and Technology Terminology, CSTT. तो इसे हम अगले वीडियो लेक्चर में करेंगे। इस वीडियो लेक्चर को यहीं पे समाप्त करते हैं। उम्मीद है कि आपको पसंद आ रहा होगा, तो कमेंट बॉक्स में जरूर बताएंगे आपको हमारी यह पहल कैसी लग रही है, और वीडियो को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर करें उन दोस्तों तक जो इस बार के यूपीएससी एग्जाम प्रीलिम्स देने वाले, उन तक इसे जरूर पहुँचाएं, और कमेंट में हमें जरूर बताएं। वीडियो को लाइक करें, और अगर आप लोग चैनल पर नए हैं और अभी तक चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो प्लीज़ 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 इसे सब्सक्राइब करके हमें सपोर्ट करें। तो मिलते हैं आपसे अगले वीडियो लेक्चर में, तब तक के लिए जय हिंद, जय भारत। जय हिंद दोस्तों, फिर से आपका स्वागत है हमारे इस वाजीराम एंड रवि के प्रीलिम्स की रिवीजन सीरीज में। इस लोग 2024 का कर रहे हैं, या पार्ट 1 है, मई 2023 से लेकर दिसंबर 2023 तक का। और आप लोगों को पता होगा 26 मई 2024 को प्रीलिम्स एग्जाम होने वाला है, तो आप लोग की तैयारी अच्छी चल रही होगी, और हम इसमें आपका साथ देने के लिए हम लोग यह सीरीज़ कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं। और इसमें हम लोगों ने कई सारे सीरीज़ कर चुके थे, कई सारे वीडियोस आ चुके थे इस बुक के, और इसके साथ ही हम लोगों ने विजन आईएएस की PT 365 पॉलिटी पूरा कंप्लीट कर लिया है, इकोनॉमिक्स पूरा कंप्लीट कर लिया है। तो अगर आप लोग उसे नहीं देखें तो जाइए उसे भी देखें, लिंक मैं इसके डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में डाल दूंगा। और आप लोग बस देखें, रिवीजन करें, और जितना ज़्यादा बार हो सके उतना अच्छा से देखें और रिवीजन करें। आपसे बस ये अनुरोध है कि अगर आप लोग हमारे चैनल पर नए हैं और अभी तक हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो प्लीज़ 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 इसे सब्सक्राइब करके हमें सपोर्ट करें, क्योंकि आपके सपोर्ट से हमें प्रोत्साहन मिलता है और हम और अच्छे अच्छे वीडियो आपके लिए बना कर लाते हैं। तो आइए आज का अपना सेशन शुरू करते हैं। बस शुरू करने से पहले आपसे बस यही आग्रह रहेगा कि जितने भी आपके दोस्त मित्र या जो भी सहपाठी होंगे जो इस बार प्रीलिम्स देने वाले हैं, उन तक इस वीडियो को जरूर पहुंचाएं, ताकि वो उन्हें भी इस वीडियो का पूरा लाभ मिल सके और वो भी अपना एग्जाम में अच्छा परफॉर्म कर सके। तो हम लोगों ने लास्ट यहाँ पे किया हुआ था ED तक, इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट तक। आज हम लोग शुरू करने वाले हैं कमीशन फॉर साइंटिफिक एंड टेक्निकल टर्मिनोलॉजी, CSTT। तो यहाँ से शुरू करते हैं। द कमीशन फॉर साइंटिफिक एंड टर्मिनल टेक्नोलॉजी, CSTT, इज एमिंग टू क्रिएट technical and scientific terminology in 10 Indian languages. 10 Indian languages underrepresented in the learning landscape. The CSTT will bring out what it calls fundamental via basic dictionaries with 5,000 words per language in 3 to 4 months. These will be in digital searchable format and free of cost. The immediate focus is to cover 15 disciplines: journalism, public administration, chemistry, botany, zoology, philosophy, physics, economics, etc. These are enabled textbook formulation at the middle and senior school as well as university level. National Education Policy 2020 has espoused the use of regional language as a medium of education in both school and college. Achievement of CSTT क्या है? तो till date CSTT has standardized the terminology of about 8 lakh technical terms in different subjects and in different languages. Besides this, CSTT has published large number of differential dictionaries, glossaries, textbook, reference material, and monographs, quarterly journals. Vigyan Garima Sindhu and Gyan Garima Sindhu are two prominent quaternary journal published by the CSTT. यहाँ पर देख लेते हैं अबाउट कमीशन फॉर साइंटिफिक एंड टेक्नोलॉजी टर्मिनोलॉजी, CSTT क्या है। तो इट वाज एस्टैब्लिश्ड इन 1961 अंडर क्लॉज 4 ऑफ आर्टिकल 344 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया। ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है? टू इवॉल्व एंड डिफाइन साइंटिफिक एंड टेक्निकल टर्म इन हिंदी एंड ऑल इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस। प्रेजेंटली CSTT इज फंक्शनिंग अंडर डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ हायर एजुकेशन, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन। इट इज हेडक्वार्टर्ड इन न्यू दिल्ली। फंक्शंस ऑफ CSTT क्या है? तो प्रिपरेशन एंड पब्लिकेशन ऑफ बाइलिंगुअल एंड trilingual glossaries involving English and Hindi and other Indian languages, identification of pan-India terms, preparation and publication of national terminology, identification and publication of a school level terminology and departmental glossaries, preparation of differential dictionaries and encyclopedias, preparation of university level textbook, monographs and journals. Grant in aid to Grand Academics Textbook Board and University calls for university level book in regional languages. Preparation, expression and critical review of terms coined and defined through training and orientation programs, workshops, seminars, etc. Providing necessary terminology to national transition mission. एट शेड्यूल ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन क्या है? तो एट शेड्यूल ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन लिस्ट द ऑफिशियल लैंग्वेज ऑफ इंडिया. Part 17 of the Constitution deal with the official language in Article 243 to 251. Although there are hundreds of languages spoken across the country, the 8th schedule recognizes a total of 22 languages as the official languages. These 22 languages are Assami, Bengali, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, Malayalam, Manipuri, Marathi, Nepali, Oriya, Punjabi, Sanskrit, Sindhi, Tamil, Telugu, Urdu, Bondo, Santhali, Maithili, and Dogri. Of these languages, 11 were initially included in the Constitution. Sindhi language was added in 1967. Thereafter, 3 more languages, Vaya, Konkani, Manipur and Nepali were included in 1992. Subsequently, Bodo, Dogri, Maithili and Santhali were added in 2004. There is no fixed criteria for any language to be considered for inclusion in the 8th schedule. Solicitor General SG of India क्या है? तो the Solicitor General of India assists the Attorney General of India in fulfilling his duties along with the Additional Solicitor General ASG and is the second highest law officer in the country. The Constitution doesn't contain any mention about this post and only defines the role and representability of Attorney General of India under Article 76. Rules regulating the recommendation, duties and other terms and conditions of the Solicitor General for India along with Attorney General and Additional Solicitor General are defined under Law Officer Condition of Service Rule 1987. Terms of office क्या है? तो the Solicitor General remain in the office for a period of 3 years and is eligible for reappointment for a further term next exceeding 3 years. His appointment can be terminated by 3 months notice in writing by either side at any time during his tenure. Duties to provide legal advice and perform duties assigned by the government. तो क्या क्या ड्यूटीज है? तो दे रिप्रेजेंट द गवर्नमेंट इन सुप्रीम कोर्ट और हाई कोर्ट केसेस इंक्लूडिंग सूट्स, रिट पिटिशंस, अपील्स एंड अदर प्रोसीडिंग्स. They also represent the government in any reference made by the President of the Supreme Court under Article 143 of the Constitution, which deals with the President's power to consult the Supreme Court on matters of public importance. They also discharge other functions conferred by the Constitution or any other law in force. Restrictions क्या है? तो the SGI is prohibited from holding courts briefs for any party except the Government of India, a state, a university or other government entities. They cannot advise against the government of or a public sector undertaking, defend an accused person in a criminal prosecution without the government's permission, except appointment to officer in a company or corporation without the government's permission. They cannot advise any ministry or department of government without ordering from the Ministry of Law and Justice. Cabinet committees क्या है? तो cabinet committee are extra constitutional in nature. They are not mentioned in the Constitution. However, these are established under the rule of business. Cabinet committees are set up by the Prime Minister according to the exigence of time and requirements of the situation. Hence, the number, nomenclature and composition vary from time to time. They not only sort out issues and formulate proposals for the consideration of the cabinet but also make decisions. However, the cabinet can review these decisions. There are organizational devices to reduce the enormous workload of the cabinet. They are facilitated in-depth examination of policies, issue and effective coordination. They are based on the principle of division of labor and effective delegation. Classification कैसे हुआ? तो there are total of 8 cabinet committees which are listed below. तो कौन कौन सा आप देख लेते हैं. पहला अपॉइंटमेंट कमेटी ऑफ द कैबिनेट. नेक्स्ट इज कैबिनेट कमेटी ऑन इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स. नेक्स्ट कैबिनेट कमेटी ऑन पॉलिटिकल अफेयर्स. अगला है कैबिनेट कमेटी ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड ग्रोथ. अगला है कैबिनेट कमेटी ऑन सिक्योरिटी. नेक्स्ट इज कैबिनेट कमेटी ऑन पार्लियामेंट्री अफेयर्स. नेक्स्ट इज कैबिनेट कमेटी ऑन एम्प्लॉयमेंट एंड स्किल डेवलपमेंट. नेक्स्ट इज कैबिनेट कमेटी ऑन एकोमोडेशन. कंपोजिशन क्या है? तो द composition of cabinet committee in India can range from 3 to 8 number, which typically consist of only cabinet ministers. No cabinet minister and senior minister can be appointed as member of the committee, including those not responsible for the subject discussed. The prime minister typically chair the committee, but other committee ministers like the home minister or finance minister may also assume the role. And if the prime minister is a committee member, they are the head. The Prime Minister lead all committees except the Cabinet Committee on Accommodation and on parliamentary affairs in the current scenario. The Cabinet Committee on Accommodation is headed by Home Minister, and with the Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs is headed by the Defence Minister. अगला सेंट्रल कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन अथॉरिटी CCPA. तो क्या है इसके बारे में? तो CCPA is proving about 20 IS coaching institute and has slapped a fine of ₹1 lakh on 4 of them for making misleading claim in their advertisement and for unfair trade practices. Central Consumer Protection Authority CCPA क्या है? तो it is a statutory body established in 2020 under the provision of Consumer Protection Act 2019. It functions under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. Objective क्या है? तो it regulate matters relating to violation of consumer rights and to promote protection and enforce the rights of consumer as a class. Composition क्या है? तो it consists of a chief commissioner as a head and 2 other commissioners as member. They are appointed by the central government. Power and function क्या है? तो conduct investigations into violation of consumer rights and institute complaints either suo moto or on a complaint received on the directions from the central government. Order recall or unsafe goods and services. Order discontinuation of unfair trade practice and misleading advertisement and impose penalties of up to 10 lakh rupees. File complaint on intervene in any proceeding before district or a state or the National Commission in respect of any allegation of violation of consumer right or unfair trade practices. Recommend adoption of international convent and best international practices on consumer rights. Undertake and promote awareness and research in the field of consumer rights. Encourage non-governmental organizations, NGOs and other institutions working in the field of consumer rights to cooperate and work with consumer protection agencies. Mandate the use of unique and universal good identifiers in such goods as may be necessary to prevent unfair trade practices and to protect consumer interest. It has an investigation wing headed by Director General appointed by the central government. अगला Central Information Commission CIC. About में क्या है? तो it is a statutory body constituted under Section 12 of the Right to Information Right RTI Act 2005 for ensuring a smoother and greater access to information envisaged under the RTI Act to Indian citizens through a citizen-centric approach. It is not a constitutional body. Objective इसका क्या है? तो पहला है to receive and inquire at citizen complaint under Section 18 of the RTI Act. Next is to receive and decide upon the second appeal from any citizen under Section 19 of the RTI Act. अगला to exercise the power conferred on CIC under the RTI Act 2005. Next is to perform the duty of monitoring and reporting under Section 25 of the RTI Act. Appointment क्या होता है? तो the commission consists of chief information commissioner and not more than 10 information commissioners appointed by the president on the recommendation of a committee consisting of पहला the prime minister, chairperson वही रहेंगे, leader of opposition LOP in the Lok Sabha and a union cabinet minister nominated by the prime minister. Eligibility क्या होगा? तो chief and member of CIC and SIC should be persons of eminence in public life with wide term of office and reappointment. The members should not be a member of parliament MP or member of legislative of any state or union territory or hold any other office of profit or connected with any political party or carry on any business or pursuing any profession. Removal कैसे होता है? The president can remove the member of the CIC, governor in case of SIC if a member has been. कौन कौन सा होगा? तो पहला होगा adjudged insolvent. Next is convicted of any offence involving moral turpitude. Next is engages in paid employment outside his office. अगला declared unfit to continue in office due to infirmity of mind or body. Next is acquired such financial or other interest that can affect his functioning as chief information commissioner or information commissioners. Next is the president or governor can also remove the member on the ground of proved misbehavior or incapacity. Such cases must be referred to the Supreme Court SC for an inquiry, and if the SC upholds the cause of removal and advisor so, then the president for CIC and governor for SIC can remove him. The member can be suspended or prohibited from office during SC inquiry. Term of office and reappointment क्या है? तो members of the commission would serve that term as prescribed by the central government or until they reached 65 year old. CIC and SIC chief aren't eligible for reappointment. Power and function में क्या होगा? तो the central information commissioner CIC receives and investigates complaint under the RTI Act 2005, adjudicates second appeals and imposes penalties for non-performers. It has access to public record, has suo motu power to order inquiries, and has the power of a civil court. The decision of commission on an appeal is binding and not subject to further reappeal in court of law. It also presents an annual report to the union government. अगला सेंट्रल बोर्ड ऑफ फिल्म सर्टिफिकेशन CBFC. कंटेक्स्ट क्या है? तो रिसेंटली बोथ द हाउसेस पास्ड द सिनेमेटोग्राफी अमेंडमेंट बिल 2023. अबाउट CBFC क्या है? तो CBFC इज अ स्टैट्यूटरी बॉडी विच वर्क इन अकॉर्डेंस विद द प्रोविजंस ऑफ सिनेमेटोग्राफ Act 1952 and Cinematograph Certification Rule 1983. It was established in 1951 and headquartered in Mumbai, Maharashtra. It functions within the ambit of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. It has 9 regional offices in cities like Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, New Delhi, Trivandrum, Calcutta and Guwahati. Mandate में क्या हो जाएगा? तो it is a censorship and classification body to regulate the public exhibition of film to ensure healthy environment, entertainment and education to the public. Governance में क्या हो जाएगा? तो the board consists of chairperson and 25 other non-official members, all of whom were appointed by Government of India. Prasoon Joshi is the present chairperson. अगला National Human Rights Commission. The NHRC, a statutory body, was established in 1993 for protecting and promoting human rights under the Protection of Human Rights Act PHR in 1993. It was amended by the Protection of Human Rights Amendment Act 2006. The Act also provides for the establishment of State Human Rights Commission. Function क्या हो जाएगा? तो पहला inquire suo motu on or on a petition presented to it by a victim or any person on his behalf or on a direction or order of any court into a complaint of human rights violation or negligence in the prevention of such violation by public servant. Intervention क्या है? तो in any proceedings involving any allegation of human rights violation pending before a court with the approval of such court. Visit में क्या हो जाएगा? तो any jail or other institution to evolve the living condition of inmates and provide recommendation to the government. Review में क्या हो जाएगा? तो the safeguard provides for the constitution or law for human rights protection and recommended effective implementation while also identifying and addressing factors that hinder the enjoyment. Study क्या हो जाएगा? तो treaties and other international institutions and human rights and make recommendation for their effective implementation. Promote में क्या आ जाएगा? तो research in the field of human rights and awareness about the safeguard available for the protection of these rights through publication, the media, seminars and other available means. Spread में क्या हो जाएगा? तो ह्यूमन राइट्स लिटरेसी among various sectors of society. Encourage में क्या हो जाएगा? तो efforts of NGOs and institutions working in the field of human rights. Composition of the commission में क्या हो जाएगा? तो chairperson, former chief justice of India or a judge of the Supreme Court. 5 member body है. 1 member who is or has been a judge of Supreme Court. 1 who is or has been the chief justice of High Court. 3 member, at least one should be a woman to be appointed from almost amongst people having knowledge of or practical experience in matter relating to human rights. Deemed member कौन कौन हो जाएगा? तो chairperson या chief commissioner of National Commission NC for backward class, National Commission for minorities, NC for scheduled class, NC for scheduled tribe, NC for protection of child rights, NC for women and chief commissioner for person and with disabilities. Appointment क्या हो जाएगा? The president appoint the chairperson and all the members for a period of 3 years or 70 years of age which where is the earlier on the recommendation of committee consisting of Prime Minister, Lok Sabha Speaker, Minister of Home Affairs, leaders of opposition from the Lok Sabha and the Raj Sabha and deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha. Digital advertisement policy. The Union government unveiled a digital advertisement policy allowing its advertising wing, the Central Bureau of Commissioners (CBC), to undertake advertisement campaign of social media, OTT platform and other digital media. Central Bureau of Communication (CBC) क्या है? तो the CBC was set up in 2017 under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting by integrating the erstwhile Directorate of Advertising and Visual Publicity (DAVP), Directorate of Field Publicity (DFP), Song and Drama Division (SDD). It provides 360-degree communication solution to ministers, department, public sector undertaking, PSUs, and autonomous bodies. It is engaged in the process of educating people, both rural and urban, about the government's policy and program through different vehicles of communication via print media, advertising, audio visual campaign, dissemination via exhibition, outdoor campaign and digital media etc. अगला है एडवर्टाइजिंग स्टैंडर्ड काउंसिल. The Advertising Standard Council of India was established in 1985 Mumbai. It is self-regulatory voluntary organization of the advertising industry in India that seeks to ensure that advertisement conforms to its code for self-regulation. It is mandatory for television network to follow the advertising code laid down by ASCI. अगला हमारा हेडिंग है इलेक्शंस. तो इलेक्शन के अंदर पहला टॉपिक है चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर एंड अदर इलेक्शन कमिश्नर्स, अपॉइंटमेंट, कंडीशन एंड सर्विस एंड टर्म ऑफ ऑफिस एक्ट 2023. अबाउट में क्या आ जाएगा? तो इट अपील्स द इलेक्शन कमीशन कंडीशन ऑफ सर्विस ऑफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर एंड ट्रांजैक्शन ऑफ बिजनेस एक्ट 1991 एंड सिक्स टू रेगुलेट द अपॉइंटमेंट, कंडीशन ऑफ सर्विस एंड टर्म ऑफ ऑफिस ऑफ द चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर एंड अदर इलेक्शन कमिश्नर्स. की प्रोविजन ऑफ द एक्ट में क्या हो जाएगा? तो अपॉइंटमेंट पहले हो जाएगा तो द CEC एंड अदर ECs will be appointed by the president. Qualification क्या हो जाएगा? तो for being elected for the post of CEC or ECs, a person should पहला of integrity who have knowledge and of and experience in management and conducting elections, holding or have held a post equivalent to the rank of secretary to the government of India. Next is earlier there were no rule prescribing the qualification for appointment to the post. A search committee headed by the cabinet secretary and including 2 members not below the rank of secretary having knowledge and experience in matter relating to elections. अगला selection committee, the recommended name of person to be appointed as the CEC and ECs to the president. It will consist of पहला prime minister as the chairperson, leader of opposition in the house of people as a member, union cabinet minister to be nominated by prime minister as a member. Any vacancy or defect in the constitution of the selection committee won't make the appointment of CEC and ECs invalid. अगला term of office, तो it remain unchanged, that is the CEC and other ECs shall hold office for a term of 6 years from the date of appointment or till attaining the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. They won't be eligible for reappointment. If an election commissioner is appointed as chief election commissioner, his term of office shall not be more than 6 years in aggregate as the election commissioner and the chief election commissioner. Salary and allowance. The act provides that salary, allowance and service condition of CEC and other ECs will be the same as that of cabinet secretary. The 1991 act provides that the salary of ECs will be equal to that of Supreme Court judge. Resignation and removal. तो कैसे रिजाइन और रिमूवल होता है इनका? तो CEC and other ECs may at any time resign from his office by writing to the president. The removal will be according to Article 342 Clause 5 of the Constitution, which state that the removal of CEC will be like that of a judge of Supreme Court, and other ECs or a regional commissioner shall be removed from office only on the recommendation of CEC. Conduct of business में क्या होगा? तो all business of the election commission is to be conducted unanimously, and in case of any difference of opinion between the CEC and other ECs on any matter, majority decision shall prevail. Next है electoral bond. तो electoral bond क्या है? तो 5 judge constitution bench of the Supreme Court CSE led by the chief election commission, Chief Justice of India CJI, revised its verdict while hearing a batch of petitions challenging the constitutional validity of Central Bond Scheme 2018 Electoral Bond Scheme 2018. Launched in 2018, this scheme provides for a electoral bond (EB), which is a bearer instrument like a promissory note that can be used by an Indian citizen or any Indian company to make donation to political parties of their choices. They are payable to the bearer free of interest and demand and can be pushed digitally NEFT or RTGS or through demand draft or check. It was introduced via the Finance Act of 2016 and 17 by amending Representation of People Act 1951 RPA and Companies Act 2013, the Income Tax Act 1961 and the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010 FCRA. All payment for the issuance of the electoral bond will be accepted in Indian rupee only. Electoral bond cannot be purchased through foreign currency. One cannot get a loan on electoral bond. No pledge electoral bond against purchase of goods and securities. Electoral bond are not listed on any stock exchange. Once the electoral bond is purchased, it cannot be challenged, cancelled or no amount will be refunded to the purchaser. Process क्या है इसका? तो electoral bonds can be purchased for any value in multiple of 1000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh and 1 crore. There is no maximum limit for donation from the specified branches of State Bank of India (SBI) through account comply with KVC norms. SBI is the only bank authorized to sell this bond via designated SBI branches. The name and other information of the donor are not mentioned on the bond and therefore they are said to be anonymous. But KVC norm will be applicable regardless of whether the applicant is an SBI account holder or a non-SBI account holder. Electoral bond can be purchased either singly or jointly with other individual but not more than 3 applicants per application form. No name will be printed on the bond. There is no cap on the number of bonds that can be purchased by an individual or a company. EBs can be purchased for the first 10 days of the beginning month of every quarter, that is जनवरी में होगा, अप्रैल में होगा, जुलाई में होगा, अक्टूबर में होगा each year के. Eligibility to receive fund through EBs. Political parties registered under Section 29A of RPA 1951, securing at least 1% of votes polled in the last election to House of People or a Legislative Assembly are eligible to receive donation through EBs. इनकोर सॉफ्टवेयर क्या है? तो अबाउट इनकोर enabling communication on real-time environment is an in-house software designed by the Election Commission of India for candidate and election management. Objective क्या होगा? तो to provide a seamless facility for returning officers ROs to process candidate nomination, affidavit, voter turnout, counting, result and data management. ICT Innovation of Election Commission of India ECI. Voter portal क्या होगा? तो provide the facility of searching name in the electoral roll. Toll free number 1950 क्या है? तो through this one can talk to election related issue in more than 22 languages. SVEEP portal क्या होगा? तो it is called for systematic voters education and electoral participation program. It provides for voter education, spreading voter awareness and promoting voter literacy in India. EVM management system EMS. The EMS is designated to manage inventory of EVM unit, that is tracking of units from manufacturer to a state to a state and district to district. Aeronaut electoral exercise like improvement of health of electoral roll. New voter registration and updating of records are done by using this app. Civil app. It standards for citizen vigilance. It gives an opportunity to repeat election code violation directly by citizen. The app enables a geotagging feature. Both app. This application facility faster identification of voters using quick search for the electors based on serial number, EPIC number and name. Voter turnout app. This app approximate voter turnout percentage of each assembly constituency, parliamentary constituency to a larger public. Result ECI portal to ensure fast and authentic result of the election. It connects the counting center across India in a secured manner. Election expenditure app for monitoring of election expenses on a regular basis during this campaign period. Index card. This card is an important module of INCORE. Every detail of election is reconciled with the physical record, validated and verified by a returning officer and chief electoral officer of the state. New web portal for political parties to file financial account detail. Political parties are required to submit their financial account detail to the election commissioner या chief electoral officer of a state या union territory as per the Representation of People Act 1951 and transparency guidelines issued by the commission from time to time. Article 324, it empowered the election commissioner to monitor, direct and control the elections. Section 29A of Representation of People Act 1951, it deals with the registration of association and bodies as political parties with the election commissioner. Section 13A of Income Tax Act, it contains special provision relating to income of political parties and state that income from house property or income from other sources or any income by way of voluntary contribution received from any person shall not be included in the total income of such political party provided that all the records are maintained and accounted are audited. About the portal के बारे में यहाँ पे देख लेते क्या है. तो it will help in online filing of contribution report, audited annual account and election expenditure statement of political parties. It has a facility for SMS reminder on the registered mobile number and registered email of the authorized representative of the political party so that dates of compliance are not missed. It consists of comprehensive guiding manual with graphical representation and FAQs. Objective क्या है, तो it facilitate political parties in overcoming the difficulties in filing the report physically to ensure timely filing of financial statement in a prescribed standardized format. अगला है कंपेयरिंग रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ पीपल एक्ट 1950 एंड रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ पीपल एक्ट 1951. तो पहले रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ पीपल एक्ट 1950 देख लेते हैं क्या है, उसके बाद फिर 1951 का देखेंगे क्या है. तो 1950 का पहले देखते हैं. प्रोवाइड्स रूल्स रिलेटेड टू द पार्टिसिपेशन फॉर इलेक्शन. नेक्स्ट इज प्रोवाइड्स फॉर एक्चुअल एलोकेशन ऑफ सीट्स इन लोकसभा, राज्यसभा, लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली एंड लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल. नेक्स्ट इज प्रोवाइड फॉर रिजर्वेशन ऑफ सीट्स इन द पार्लियामेंट फॉर SC STs. नेक्स्ट है लॉज डाउन वोटर्स क्वालिफिकेशंस. नेक्स्ट इज लेज डाउन प्रोसीजर फॉर द पार्टिसिपेशन ऑफ इलेक्टोरल रोल एंड द मैनर ऑफ फाइलिंग सीट्स. नेक्स्ट है प्रोवाइड्स द प्रोसीजर फॉर डिलिमिटेशन ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी. 1951 में देखते क्या है, तो मेक्स प्रोविजन फॉर द एक्चुअल कंडक्ट ऑफ इलेक्शन. नेक्स्ट है प्रोवाइड एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव मशीनरी फॉर कंडक्टिंग इलेक्शंस. नेक्स्ट इज डील्स विद द रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज. अगला है स्पेसिफाइज द क्वालिफिकेशन एंड disqualification for membership of the house. अगला provision to curb corrupt practices and other electoral offences. Next is procedure for setting doubts and disputes arising outside the election. Next is provides rule for political parties for accepting donations. अगला association of bulk election bonds ABEV. Recently the chief election commissioner along with 3 members from the Election Commission of India ECI attended the 11th meeting of the Executive Board of Association of Bulk Election Bodies ABEV at Cartagena, Colombia. About में क्या है, तो founded in 2013. It is world's largest international organization in the field of election management, comparing of 121 election management bodies EMBs from 111 countries. विजन क्या है, तो foster efficiency and effectiveness in conducting free, fair, transparent and participative election worldwide. Composition में क्या है, तो it is composed of General Assembly, the Executive Board, the Oversight and Audit Committee and the Secretariat in Seoul, Republic of Korea. ABEV Center has been established in New Delhi for documentation and research, sharing the best practices and training and capacity building of officials of ABEV members. अगला हमारा टॉपिक गवर्नेंस. गवर्नेंस में पहला न्यूज़ है PM केयर फंड. तो पीएम केयर फंड वाज created in 2020 for combating containment and relief efforts against the coronavirus outbreak and similar pandemic like situation in the future, and is registered as public charitable trust under the Registration Act 1908. This fund is used as a discretion of the PM and does not form a part of the Government of India account. पीएम केयर फंड का ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है? तो पहला टू प्रोवाइड असिस्टेंस एंड रिलीफ टू द अफेक्टेड इन द इवेंट ऑफ एनी कैलामिटी, डिजास्टर, पब्लिक हेल्थ इमरजेंसी और एनी अदर इमरजेंसी ऑफ एनी काइंड दैट मे बी आइदर नेचुरल और मैन मेड। अगला क्रिएशन एज वेल एज अपग्रेडेशन ऑफ एनी फार्मास्यूटिकल फैसिलिटी। नेक्स्ट इज फंडिंग रिसर्च। अगला है क्रिएशन और अपग्रेडेशन ऑफ एनी नेसेसरी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, हेल्थ केयर सपोर्ट और एनी अदर काइंड ऑफ सपोर्ट। कंपोजिशन में क्या आ जाएगा? तो एक्स ऑफिशियो चेयरमैन कौन है? प्राइम मिनिस्टर। एक्स ऑफिशियो ट्रस्टी है मिनिस्टर ऑफ डिफेंस, मिनिस्टर ऑफ होम अफेयर एंड मिनिस्टर ऑफ फाइनेंस। ट्रस्टी है कौन? तो 3 ट्रस्टी टू बी नॉमिनेटेड टू द बोर्ड ऑफ ट्रस्टी बाय द प्राइम मिनिस्टर। कंट्रीब्यूशन किसका रहेगा? तो द फंड कंसिस्ट एंटायरली ऑफ वॉलंटरी कंट्रीब्यूशन फ्रॉम इंडिविजुअल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इंक्लूडिंग कंपनी, अदर चैरिटेबल इंस्टीट्यूशन, associations, etc., and does not get any budgetary support. Individual and organizations based in foreign countries can contribute too. Exemptions क्या है? तो donations to PM Care Fund are eligible for 80G benefit for 100% exemption under the Income Tax Act 1961. Donation to be counted as corporate society responsibility CSR expenditure under the Company Act of 2013. Foreign donation are exempted under FCRA. प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स नेशनल रिलीफ फंड PMNRF, ये क्या है? तो PMNRF was established in 1948 with public contribution to assist displaced person from Pakistan. The resources of the PMNRF are now utilized primarily to render immediate relief to families of those killed in natural calamities like flood, cyclone and earthquake, etc. The fund consists entirely of public contribution and does not get any budgetary support. The corpus of the fund is invested in various forms with scheduled commercial bank and other agencies. PMNRF accept only voluntary donation by individual and institutions. National Disaster Response Fund, तो ये क्या है? With the implementation of Disaster Management Act 2005, the National Calamity Contingency Fund (NCCF) underwent a name change and became known as the National Disaster Response Fund (NDRF). The NDRF is now allocated to the public account of the Government of India and classified under the category of Reserve Fund not bearing interest. Currently, a National Calamity Contingent Duty (NCCD) is levied to finance the NDRF, and additional budgetary support is provided as and when necessary. Comptroller and Auditor General (CAG) audit the account of NDRF. अगला टॉपिक है हमारा यूनियन लेड पैनल आइडेंटिफिकेशन नंबर ULPIN। तो उससे पहला है डिजिटल इंडिया लैंड रिकॉर्ड मॉडर्नाइजेशन प्रोग्राम DILRMP is being implemented by the Department of Land Resource under Ministry of Rural Development through state या UT government to accelerated digitalization of land record. Under this program, unique land panel parcel identification number ULPIN or Bhu Aadhaar, the Aadhaar number for land, will be assigned to the land parcel. About unique land parcel identification number ULPIN, also known as the Bhu Aadhaar, it is 14-digit alphanumeric unique ID identification number accorded to a land panel and is a single authoritative source of trust for information on any parcel of land or property to provide integrated land services to the citizen as well as stakeholders. Earlier, different states used different method for assigning unique IDs to land parcels. For digitalizing the land record, ULPIN was introduced with the aim of having one registration system across the country. Implemented by क्या होगा? Department of Land Resource DOLR along with the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology (MAITRE), Department of Science and Technology DST and National Remote Sensing Center NRSC. Digital India Land Record Modernization Program, DILRMP. So this program was launched in 2008 by combining two centrally sponsored scheme of Department of Land Resource via पहला है कंप्यूटराइजेशन ऑफ लैंड रिकॉर्ड CLR और दूसरा स्ट्रेंथनिंग ऑफ रेवेन्यू एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड अपडेटिंग ऑफ लैंड रिकॉर्ड्स SRA and ULR. This program central sector scheme has been extended to 2023-24 to complete its original target as well as expand its ambit with a slew of new schemes. The program has introduced various new measures such as National Generic Document Registration System NGDRS, ULPIN transliteration of record of rights, the connection between revenue court and land records, and the integration of consist-based Aadhaar number with the land records. NGDRS, it is aimed at providing one nation, one software for registration of documentation and properties to empower citizens. DILRMP's next phase will include linkage of land record database with bank. This will improve the provision of services to the citizen of the country and service as valuable inputs for scheme in other sectors such as agriculture, finance, disaster management and more. अगला नेशनल ट्रेनिंग कॉन्क्लेव मिशन कर्मयोगी दीक्षा. National Training Conclave. Prime Minister recently inaugurated the first ever National Training Conclave at the International Exhibition and Convention Center in New Delhi to strengthen the training infrastructure for civil servants across India. It is a part of National Program for Civil Service Capacity Building NPCSCB. मिशन कर्मयोगी. ऑब्जेक्टिव इसका क्या है? So to foster collaboration among civil services, training institute and booster the training infrastructure for civil servants across the country, to provide a platform for networking, knowledge exchange, identifying challenges and key areas of collaboration, hosted by Capacity Building Commission. मिशन कर्मयोगी क्या है? तो इट इज़ द नेशनल प्रोग्राम फॉर सिविल सर्विस कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग NPCSCP launched in 2020 to reform Indian bureaucracy and prepare civil servant for the future through a competency framework for civil services that will cover around 4.2 million central employees. Objective क्या है? To build a future ready civil services with the right attitude, skills and knowledge aligned to the vision of new India by making them more creative, constructive, imaginative, proactive, innovative, progressive, professional, energetic, transparent and technology enabled. फीचर्स क्या है? तो चेंज इन द माइंडसेट. गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स शुड कंसिडर देमसेल्फ कर्मयोगीज इंस्टेड ऑफ कंसिडरिंग देम कर्माचिस. Change in the workplace from assigning individual responsibility for performance to diagnosing the constraint in civil servants' performance using means, motives and opportunity MMO framework, moving the public HR management system from being rule based to role based institutional framework. पहला प्राइम मिनिस्टर ह्यूमन रिसोर्स काउंसिल PMHRC. It is the apex body for driving and providing strategic direction to civil services reform and capacity building. It is headed by PM and consisting of Union Minister and CM along with eminent public HR participator, thinker, public service facilitator, etc. Cabinet Secretary Coordination Unit, chaired by the Cabinet Secretary. It has representation for the central and state bureaucracy to monitor the implementation of NPCSCB, align stakeholder and provide mechanism for overseeing capacity building plans. Capacity Building Commission, conceived as an independent body. This 3-member commission with full executive power has been set up for functional supervision of training institution and facilitating preparedness of annual capacity building plan. Karmyogi Bharat Special Purpose Vehicle SPV. It is an autonomous company set up under Section 8 of the Company Act 2013 to own and operate all the digital assets created by NPCSCB on behalf of the Government of India. Program Management Unit PMO. It will provide program management and support service to the department. Daksha, develop development of attitude, knowledge, skill, and holistic transformation in administrative for young professionals. अबाउट में क्या हो जाएगा, तो इट इज़ अ कलेक्शन ऑफ 18 कोर्सेज लॉन्च्ड बाय द आईगोट कर्मयोगी प्लेटफॉर्म फॉर बिल्डिंग फंक्शनल डोमेन एंड बिहेवियरल competence in the learner by acquiring them with subject crucial for discharging their duties and responsibility effectively. अगला है परिवार पहचान पत्र। तो इसे हम लोग अगले वीडियो लेक्चर में करेंगे। इस वीडियो लेक्चर को हम लोग यहीं पे समाप्त करते हैं। उम्मीद है आपको यह वीडियो पसंद आया होगा। तो आप लोग हमें कमेंट बॉक्स में जरूर बताएंगे आपको हमारी यह पहल कैसी लग रही है। और अगर आप लोग हमारे चैनल पर नए हैं और अभी तक हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो प्लीज़ इसे सब्सक्राइब करके हमें सपोर्ट करें। वीडियो को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर करें उन लोगों तक जो इस बार का UPSC PT देने वाले हैं, ताकि उन्हें वीडियो का लाभ मिले और वो भी करंट अफेयर में अपने आप को सहज महसूस करें। और कमेंट बॉक्स में कमेंट करके जरूर बताएंगे। वीडियो को लाइक करें, शेयर करें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा और रिवाइज करें, ताकि जितना आप रिवाइज करेंगे उतना ही अच्छा आपका कंसेप्ट बिल्ड होगा और उतना ही अच्छा आप लोग एग्जाम में परफॉर्म करेंगे। तो मिलते हैं आपसे अगले वीडियो लेक्चर में। तब तक के लिए पढ़ते रहिए, रिवीजन करते रहिए। जय हिंद, जय भारत। जय हिंद दोस्तों, फिर से आपका स्वागत है हमारे भाजीराम एंड रवि के प्रीलिम क्विक रिवीजन सीरीज़ में, जो 2024 का पार्ट 1 है। या मई से लेकर दिसंबर 2023 तक का है। और आप लोग जानते हैं कि इसका एग्ज़ाम 26 मई को होने वाला है। तो इसमें हम लोगों ने कई सारे सेक्शन इसका कर लिया था और यह कंटिन्यू सीरीज़ है। तो आप लोग इसे जरूर देखें। और अगर पहले के वीडियोज़ आप लोगों ने नहीं देखे तो इसका लिंक मैं डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में डाल दूँगा, आप लोग जाइए उसे भी चेक कीजिए। और उसके साथ हम लोगों ने विजन IAS का PT 365 इन्वायरमेंट कर लिया है, पॉलिटी हो गया है, इकोनॉमिक्स हो गया है। तो आप लोग उसे भी देखिए और उसे भी देखकर अपनी तैयारी को और मजबूत कीजिए। तो यह कंटिन्यू सीरीज़ है। आपसे बस ये अनुरोध है कि अगर आप लोग हमारे चैनल पर नए हैं और अभी तक हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो प्लीज़ इसे सब्सक्राइब करके हमें सपोर्ट करें, क्योंकि आपके सपोर्ट की हमें बहुत आवश्यकता पड़ती है और हम इससे काफ़ी लाभान्वित होते हैं। वीडियो को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर करें उन लोगों तक जो इस बार का UPSC प्री देने वाले हैं, ताकि जो भी लोग करंट अफेयर में थोड़ा बहुत दिक्कत महसूस करते हैं उन तक इस वीडियो को पहुँचाएँ और उनके करंट अफेयर की दिक्कत को दूर करने की कोशिश करें। वीडियो को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बार देखें ताकि आपका रिवीजन अच्छा हो सके और आप लोग एग्जाम में अच्छा परफॉर्म कर सके। तो आइए आज चलते हैं हमारे आज के टॉपिक पे। तो आज का हमारा टॉपिक यहाँ शुरू होता है, परिवार पहचान पत्र। ठीक है, शुरू करने से पहले फिर से आपसे ये अनुरोध रहेगा कि अगर आप लोग हमारे चैनल पर नए हैं और अभी तक हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो प्लीज़ इसे सब्सक्राइब करके हमें सपोर्ट करें। कमेंट बॉक्स में जरूर बताएंगे कि आपको हमारी यह पहल कैसी लगी और वीडियो को लाइक करना जरूर। ठीक है, शुरू करते हैं। परिवार पहचान पत्र। परिवार पहचान पत्र स्कीम वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड बाय हरियाणा गवर्नमेंट इन ईयर 2020 टू आइडेंटिफाई ईच family in Haryana and keep their basic data provided with the consent of the family in a digital format. PPP ID, it is a unique 8-digit identity number that is issued to each family residing in Haryana as a single unit. All the residing family are required to enroll obligatory in this scheme to avoid yourself of paperless and faceless various government services and social security scheme. PPP और आधार में क्या है अंतर देख लेते हैं। It goes beyond the basic identity detail and contains the socio-economic data of the family. It verifies each field of information during registration through a specific procedure. आधार में क्या होगा, तो it only contains the unique identity for information such as fingerprint, iris scan, face ID, address detail, contact detail, etc. It only verifies the identity of the person during registration. अगला है अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ DGP। कंटेक्स्ट क्या है, तो पंजाब असेंबली पास पब्लिक पुलिस अमेंडमेंट बिल 2023। द बिल amends the procedure to select Director General of Police DGP and guides the path for the state to appoint him or her. Procedure of DGP's appointment क्या है, तो Director General of Police DGP is a 3-star rank and the highest ranking of police officer in state. The DGP is the head of the state police force. He or she is appointed as per the guidelines of Supreme Court Judge on Police Reform in Prakash Singh vs Union of India 2006. DGP of the state shall be selected by the state government from amongst the 3 senior most officers of the department who has been recommended by UPSC. Once selected for the job, he should have a minimum tenure of at least 2 years, irrespective of his date of superannuation. The DGP can be removed by the state government in consultation with the state secretary commission consequent upon any action taken against him under All India Services Discipline and Appeal rules of following his conviction in a court of law in a criminal offence or in a case of corruption, or if he or she otherwise कैपेसिटेड फ्रॉम डिस्चार्जिंग हिज ड्यूटी। 2018 गाइडलाइंस क्या है? द कोर्ट रूल्ड दैट नो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट कैन अपॉइंट देयर फेवरेट police officer as the acting DGP, a concept known considering in the 2006 police reform judgment. To prevent this, a state were directed to submit proposal to the UPSC at least 3 months before the DGP's retirement date and ensure continuity of the appointed officer. अगला पंचायत डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स। पंचायत डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स इज अ computation source for guiding panchayats across the country based on the development work carried by them towards the achievement of LSDGs, localization of sustainable development goals. The 7 LSDGs consist of following themes. कौन कौन सा थीम है? तो पॉवर्टी फ्री एंड इनहेंस्ड लाइवलीहुड इन विलेज, हेल्दी विलेज, चाइल्ड फ्रेंडली विलेज, क्लीन एंड ग्रीन विलेज, वाटर सफिशिएंट विलेज, विलेज विथ सेल्फ सफिशिएंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, सोशली जस्ट एंड सोशली सिक्योर्ड विलेज, विलेज विथ गुड गवर्नेंस एंड वुमेन फ्रेंडली विलेज। अगला प्रिपेयर्ड बाय कौन, किसके द्वारा? तो ए कमेटी कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड बाय द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पंचायती राज कंसिस्टिंग ऑफ मेंबर फ्रॉम डिफरेंट मिनिस्ट्रीज एंड डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ यूनियन एंड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट। ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है? तो टू assess the ground realities of development in panchayat and the efforts made by the local government in implementing various development programs, realizing the developmental target and achieving the SDGs. Mechanism क्या है? तो PDI provides ranking for panchayats at different level including district, block and village. The panchayat will be ranked in following categories based on their sources. कौन कौन सा? तो highlights में है क्या है? तो data from 4 districts in Maharashtra namely Pune, Sangli, Satara and Solapur were compiled on pilot basis. 70% of the panchayats from this area are in grade C and 27% are in grade B. The pilot study shows how no attention has been paid to them like being women friendly or identify the kind of development required. यहाँ पे ग्रेड दिया हुआ है, स्कोर दिया हुआ है, तो ग्रेड A प्लस है एवं 90%, ग्रेड A है 75 to 90%, ग्रेड B है 60% to 75%, ग्रेड C is 40 to 60% and ग्रेड D is below 40%. बिहार कास्ट सर्वे एंड कास्ट सेंसस फॉर इंडिया क्या है? तो देखते हैं। हिस्ट्री ऑफ द कास्ट बेस्ड सर्वे इन इंडिया क्या है? तो फर्स्ट इंट्रोड्यूस अंडर ब्रिटिश कॉलोनियल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इन 1881 एंड कंटिन्यूड टिल द 1931 सेंसस। फ्रॉम 1951 to 2011 each census conducted in post independence India has included information on scheduled caste and scheduled tribe but not on other caste group. Prior to this period, caste data was available in every census until 1931. In 1941, although caste-based data were collected, it was not made publicly available. Census versus survey क्या है? तो census come within the legislative power of the parliament as only the center is in power to conduct a census under the Census Act 1948. Article 246 Parliament's power to exclusively legislate on any of the matter enumerated in list 1 in the 7th schedule. However, entry 45 in the concurrent list shares similarities with entry 94 in the union list, as both empower the collection of statistics to verify information aimed at achieving the economic and social planning objective outlined in entry 20 of the concurrent list. The Supreme Court allowed the state government to go ahead in August after the state submitted it was a survey and assured that no one's data would be devolved. सेंसस वर्सेस SECC मतलब सोशो इकोनॉमिक कास्ट सेंसस SECC। सेंसस पहले देख लेते क्या है? तो इट इज़ द ऑफिशियल कोड ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन लिविंग इन द कंट्री अलॉन्ग विद देयर बेसिस डिटेल्स लाइक एज, जेंडर, जॉब, इनकम etc. टू हेल्प द गवर्नमेंट इम्प्लीमेंट बेटर पॉलिसीज, एक्सेस रिसोर्सेज, मैप सोशल changes and conduct delimitation exercises. It is conducted by the Office of the Registrar General and Census Commissioner of India, Ministry of Home Affairs. Its data is confidential under the Census Act 1948. Socio-economic caste census SECC क्या है? तो it is a study of the socio-economic status of rural and urban household and allows ranking of household based on predefined parameters. In rural area, it is conducted by the Department of Rural Development DO, and in urban area is under the administrative jurisdiction of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs MOHUA. Its data is open to use by the government department for extending benefit to the population. The SECC data excluding caste data was finalized and published by the two ministries in 2016. However, due to inaccuracy, the raw data was never disclosed. गार्जियन मिनिस्टर क्या है? तो गार्जियन मिनिस्टर इज अ कैबिनेट लेवल मिनिस्टर अपॉइंटेड बाय द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट टू ओवरसी द development of a specific district within the state. The position is typically held by senior politicians from the ruling party who act as a liaison between state government and the district administration, ensuring that the district receives the necessary resources and support to meet its development goals. A minister may serve as a guardian minister for multiple districts. The post of guardian minister was introduced to bring to attention the implementation of government policies, reform, public welfare scheme in assigned district. Role and responsibilities क्या है? He oversees the execution of various state government scheme and program in the district and ensures smooth functioning of district administration. He is the ex officio chairman of District Planning Development Committee (DPDC), responsible for the implementation of developmental and infrastructure scheme in each district. He is the final decision-making authority on matters related to the expenditure of DPDC funds. Therefore, the post becomes important for political parties as it gives them control of development fund allocation allocated for the district. अगला इंटेलिजेंट ग्रीवांसेस मॉनिटरिंग सिस्टम IGMS 2.0 and CPGRAMS. Recently, the IGMS 2.0 of the Department of Administrative Reform and Public Grievances (DARPG) was launched. About IGMS 2.0 implemented by IIT Kanpur. It is a public grievance portal and a major upgradation of centralized public grievance redress and monitoring system CPGRAMS portal using artificial intelligence, machine learning in terms of its capabilities. Objective क्या है? तो to provide instant tabular analysis of grievances filed and disposed, state-wise and district-wise grievances filed and ministry-wise data to help the officials identify the root cause of the grievances. Key features क्या है? तो it will help the DARPG in creating the draft letter for selected scheme, ministry and expenditure the grievances redressal process by the concerned ministry or department. It has been enabled with artificial intelligence AI capacity. CPGRAMS, Centralized Public Grievance Redressal and Monitoring System. It is an online platform available to the citizen 24/7 to lodge their grievances to the public authorities on any subject related to services delivery, and a single portal connected to all the ministries, Department of Government of India and State. CPGRAMS maintains a centralized database of grievances, making it easier for authorities to track and monitor the status of complaints. This ensures a systematic and transparent approach to grievance resolution. Each ministry and state has role-based access to this system. DARPG, Department of Administrative Reform and Public Grievances. क्या है? तो DARPG comes under the Ministry of Personal Public Grievance and Pension. It endeavors to document and disseminate successful good governance practices by way of audio, visual, media and publications. It also undertakes activities in the field of international exchange and cooperation to promote public service reforms. DARPG has launched the CPGRAMS to provide the facility to lodge a grievance online for any geographical location. Like Grievance Redressal Assessment and Index GRAI. Recently, the Union Ministry of Public Grievance and Pension launched the GRAI 2022. It was conceptualized and designed by the DARPG, Government of India. Objective क्या है? तो to present an organization-wise competitive picture and provide valuable insight about strength and areas of improvement regarding the grievance redressal mechanism. 89 central ministry and department were ashamed and ranked based on a comprehensive index in the dimension of पहला efficiency, दूसरा feedback, तीसरा domain, चौथा organizational commitment and corresponding 12 indicators. To compute the index, data between January and December 2022 was used from the centralized public grievance redressal and management system CPGRAMS. Key facts क्या है? तो it is an online platform available to the citizen 24/7 to lodge their grievance to the public authorities on any subject related to service delivery. It is a single portal connected to all ministries, the department of the government of India and states. It is also accessible to the citizen through a standalone mobile application. Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council LAHDC क्या है? तो creation 2 councils LAHDC Leh in 1995 and LAHDC Kargil in 2003 were created under the Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council Act 1997. The Autonomous Hill Council work with village panchayat to take decision on economic development, healthcare, education, land use, taxation, and local governance, which are further reviewed at the block headquarter in the presence of Chief Executive Councillor and Executive Councillor. Composition क्या है तो both the council comprise of 30 councillor, each 26 councillor elected and 4 nominated. A chairperson is elected from among the member who also serve as Chief Executive Councillor for the council and hold the rank and power of a cabinet minister. It also consists of 4 executive councillors who possess the rank of and status of deputy minister. The deputy commissioner of the district is designated as the chief executive officer LAHDC and holds control over the overall district administration, execution of work and maintaining law and order. Power क्या है तो the role involves development plans, budgeting for district, implementing movement scheme, promoting language and culture, public health, education, local road transport, small scale industry, non-conventional energy and tourism, and collecting tax and fees with their jurisdiction. Aadhaar enable payment services, AEPS. AEPS is a type of payment system that is based on unique identification number and allows Aadhaar card holder to seamlessly make financial transaction through Aadhaar based authentication. It is a bank-led model which allows online interoperable financial transaction of POS, point of sale, and micro ATM through the business correspondent BC, bank mitra of any bank using the Aadhaar authentication. The model removes the need for OTPs, bank account detail, and other financial detail. It allows fund transfer using only the bank name, Aadhaar number, and fingerprint captured during Aadhaar enrollment. Neither Unique Identification Authority of India UIDAI nor National Payment Corporation of India NCPI mentions clearly whether AEPS is enabled by default. Cashless India, a website managed and run by Maitri, says the service does not require any activation, with the only requirement being that the user's bank account should be linked with their Aadhaar number. Action Taken Report, ATR module launched for auditing Panchayat accounts. क्या तो the Ministry of Panchayati Raj MOPR launched the Action Taken Report ATR module for auditing all the Panchayat accounts. About ATR module क्या है तो this module provides status of action taken by audit observations, addressed or unresolved issues, so that the audit report by displayed in public domain. Implemented by कौन सा तो Ministry of Panchayati Raj MOPR. Background क्या है तो according to the operational guidelines issued by 15 Finance Commission FC, state must ensure that all ties of panchayats constituting 100% of rural local bodies have audited account for the 2021-2022 period through the Audit Online platform. Audit Online was introduced in 2019 as an open source application to facilitate internal and external audit of government department and Panchayati Raj institution. To achieve accountability and to ensure the online audit process, ATR has been launched. Objective क्या है तो to provide a more structural approach to the audit process, ensuring clarity on the action taken in response to audit finding. Shreyans scheme. It is an umbrella scheme under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Shreyas is a program basket comprising the initiative of 3 central ministries, namely the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship MOSD&E, and the Ministry of Labour and Employment MOLE, namely the National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme NAPS, the National Career Service NCS etc. It will place 2 ongoing central sector scheme for other backward class OBC and other family, that is पहला National Fellowship for OBC, दूसरा Dr. Ambedkar Central Sector Scheme of Interest Subsidy on Educational Loan for Overseas Studies for OBCs and Economically Backward Class EBCs. Objective क्या है तो empowering OBC and EBC students educationally by awarding them fellowship, financial assistance for obtaining equality higher education and interest subsidy on educational loan for overseas studies. Component क्या है तो National Fellowship for OBC to provide financial assistance to the OBC student through 1000 Junior Research Fellowship. These 1000 slot will be over and above the OBC students selected under the normal reservation policy of the government. It is implemented by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment through the designated central nodal agency. Dr. Ambedkar scheme to interest subsidy on education loan for overseas student for OBCs and ABC. To provide an interest subsidy to OBC and ABC student on a moratorium period for education loan for Masters, MPhil and PhD degree of overseas. The maximum loan will be rupees 20 lakh. It is implemented by Canara Bank. AINA dashboard, AAINA. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, MOHUA, recently launched the AINA dashboard for cities portal for comprising similarly placed urban local bodies ULBs and promoting peer learning about ULBs. Objective क्या है तो information to provide information on the status and program of the ULBs based on 5 thematic areas. Inspiration by healthy competition क्या है to help the ULBs to monitor their performance and learn by comprising it with other. Information collection on 5 thematic areas कौन कौन सा तो political and administrative, finance, planning, citizen centric governments, delivery on basic services. अगला डिजिटल पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड इंडिया स्टॉक. तो डिजिटल पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर DPI refers to block or platform such as digital identification, payment infrastructure and data exchange solution that help countries deliver essential services to their people, empowering citizens and improving lives by enabling digital inclusion. India through India Stock. India Stock is the moniker for a set of open API and digital public good. Became the first country to develop all 3 fundamental DPIs: digital identity Aadhaar, real-time fast payment UPI, platform to safely share personal data without compromising privacy, account aggregate built on the data empowerment protection architecture or DEPA. DEPA is a joint public-private effort for an improved data governance approach. It creates a digital framework that allows users to share their data on their own terms through a third-party entity, consent manager. Other components of Indian DPI include कौन कौन सा तो DSHI यात्रा, biometric enabled seamless travel based experience based on financial recognition system FRS. अगला DigiLocker, a platform used for storing document and verifying credentials. Open Network for Digital Commerce ONDC, an alternative e-commerce platform promoting open network for exchange of goods and services. अगला Aspirational Block Program. The Aspirational Block Program is on the line of the Aspirational District Program that was launched in 2018 and cover 112 districts across the country. This new program is aimed at improving performance of block lagging on various development parameters. This will enable holistic development in those areas that require added assistance. The program will cover 50 districts across 31 state and union territory initially. Over half of this block are in 6 states: Uttar Pradesh 68 block, Bihar 61, Madhya Pradesh 42, Jharkhand 34, Orissa 29 and West Bengal 29. What is Aspirational District Program? It was launched in 2018 and aimed to transform districts that have slowly relatively lesser progress in key social areas. 3C strategy. कौन कौन सा तो the broad contour of the program कौन सा तो पहला convergence of central and state scheme, दूसरा collaboration of central state level प्रभारी officer and district collector, फिर अगला competition among district driven by a mass movement. Parameter for ranking क्या है तो the ranking is based on the incremental program made across 49 key performance indicator KPIs under 5 broad socio-economic theme. से 5 को कौन कौन सा तो पहला हेल्थ एंड न्यूट्रिशन 30%, दूसरा एजुकेशन वो भी 30%, एग्रीकल्चर एंड वाटर रिसोर्स 20%, फिनेंशियल इंक्लूजन एंड स्किल डेवलपमेंट 10% एंड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर 10%. नेक्स्ट इज सारना कोड. Tribal committees of 5 states, including Jharkhand, Odisha, and Assam, demanded that the central government recognize their regional as Sarna and ensure their enumeration under this category during the upcoming census. About Sarna region क्या है तो followers of Sarna faith are nature worshipper. The holy grail of the Sarna faith is Jal, water, jungle, forest, Jamin, land. The follower pray for the tree and hills while believing in protecting the forest area. Believer of Sarna faith do not practice ideal worship, nor do they adhere to the concept of Varna system heaven, hell, etc. They are concentrated mainly in the tribal belt state of Odisha, Jharkhand, Bihar, West Bengal, and Assam. Several surveys and reports have indicated that over 50 lakh tribal people in the entire country put their region as Charna in 2011 census, although it was not a code. अगला फ्रीडम ऑन द नेट 2023 रिपोर्ट. कंटेक्स्ट क्या है? तो ए रिपोर्ट फ्रीडम ऑफ द नेट 2023, द रिप्रेसिव पावर ऑफ आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस रेड फ्लैग्ड द increasing use of AI by government for censorship and spread of disinformation. Published by Freedom House, a non-profit organization based on Washington DC, established in 1941 and best known for political advocacy surrounding issues of democracy, political freedom and human rights. This report represents the 13th edition of an annual study on human rights online. It evaluates internet freedom in 70 countries, encompassing a significant portion of the world's interest user. की पॉइंट क्या है? तो इंडियाज इंटरनेट फ्रीडम स्कोर improved by 2 points, placing its 51st in the global ranking. Indian government's net neutrality rule adopted in July 2018 are considered among the world's strongest. अगला विकसित भारत संकल्प यात्रा एंड द काशी तमिल संगम. PM Modi on 2-day visit to Varanasi addresses the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra event. He is also scheduled to inaugurate the second edition of the Kashi Tamil Sangam during the visit. Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra क्या है? तो it is a government initiative being undertaken across the country to raise awareness and track the implementation of flagship central scheme. This include program like Ayushman Bharat, Ujjwala, PM Suraksha Bima, PM Swanidhi, etc. एम क्या है? तो रीच आउट टू द वल्नरेबल हु आर एलिजिबल अंडर वेरियस स्कीम बट हैव नॉट अवेल्ड बेनिफिट सो फार. डिसमिनेशन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन एंड जनरेटिंग अवेयरनेस अबाउट स्कीम. इंटरेक्शन विथ बेनिफिशरीज ऑफ गवर्नमेंट स्कीम थ्रू देयर पर्सनल स्टोरीज, एक्सपीरियंस शेयरिंग एंड. तमिल काशी संगम क्या है? तो काशी तमिल संगम is an initiative by Government of India as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and to uphold the spirit of Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat. The objective of the program is to celebrate, reaffirm and rediscover the age-old link between Tamil Nadu and Kashi, two of the country's ancient seats of learning. IIT Madras and BHU are the two implementing agencies for the program. The first edition of the Sangam was held in 2022. This year it was held from 17th to 31st December. रेलवे ऑफिसर टू बी ट्रेंड इन डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट. नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है. तो द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रेलवे हैज़ मेड ट्रेनिंग इन डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट मैंडेटरी फॉर रेलवे ऑफिसर्स. द नेशनल अकेडमी ऑफ इंडियन रेलवे NAIR Barodara and the Indian Railway Institute of Disaster Management IRIDM Bengaluru would work together in implementing the training program. NAIR is a training institute for Indian Railway IR officers. It was established in 1930 as the Railway Staff College and moved to its current location in Vadodara, Gujarat, 1952. IRIDM is a national institute that offers disaster management course and training. IRIDM envisioned in High-Level Committee HLC on Disaster Management in Indian Railway was commissioned in 2019. Commissioner of Railway Safety CSR headquarter क्या? तो लखनऊ, उत्तर प्रदेश में. CSR is a statutory body. It is headed by Chief Commissioner of Railway Safety. It deals with matters related to safety of rail travel and operations as laid down in the Railway Act 1989. Investigating seriously train accident is one of the key responsibility of CRS. The Commissioner also makes recommendation to the government. CRS does not report to the Ministry of Railway of the Railway Board. It is under the administrative control of Ministry of Civil Aviation MOCA. Road crash death in India continue to rise. WHO का रिपोर्ट है. उसमें एज पर WHO ग्लोबल स्टेटस रिपोर्ट ऑन रोड सेफ्टी 2023, एनुअल नंबर ऑफ रोड ट्रैफिक डेथ हैज़ dropped by 5% to 1.19 million per year. India, however, registered a 15% increase in fatalities. The WHO Global Status Report on Road Safety 2023 is the fifth in a series measuring progress in reducing road traffic death. This report was proposed with support from Bloomberg Philanthropies. This report covered progress between 2010 and 2021 and set a baseline for efforts to the United Nations Decade on Action 2021-2030 target to halve road traffic death by 2030. The United Nations General Assembly proclaimed the Decade of Action for Road Safety 2021-30 in September 2020. The goal is to reduce road traffic death and injuries by 2030. In India, the number of deaths reported due to road crashes in 2018 was 1,50,787 and it rose to 1,53,792 in 2021. The number was 1.3 lakh in 2010. अगला है ग्राम मानचित्र. The Ministry of Panchayati Raj recently launched the Geographic Information System GIS application ग्राम मानचित्र. तो वेबसाइट इसका क्या है, ग्राम मानचित्र .gov.in टू इनकरेज द स्पेशल प्लानिंग ऑफ ग्राम पंचायत. ऑब्जेक्टिव और इधर डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया हुआ है. तो पहला है फैसिलिटेट एंड सपोर्ट, इनेबल ग्राम पंचायत इन प्लानिंग एट देयर लेवल यूजिंग जियो स्पेशल टेक्नोलॉजी वाया ए यूनिफाइड geospatial platform. This aid visualization of developmental work across sectors and provide a decision support system for Gram Panchayat Development Plan GPDP. M Action Soft क्या है, तो launched a mobile based solution M Action Soft to capture photos with geotag for works with assets as output. The geotags assets will be accessible on Gram Manchitra, enhancing the visualization of various developmental work in Gram Panchayat. अगला geotagging of assets. Implement geotagging in 3 stages. पहला before starting work, दूसरा during work and तीसरा है upcoming completion. This establishes a comprehensive repository of information on works and assets related to natural resource management, water harvesting, drought proofing, sanitation, agriculture, check dams and irrigation channels. प्लानिंग टूल्स क्या है, तो यूटिलाइज GIS टेक्नोलॉजी ऑन द ग्राम मानचित्र एप्लीकेशन टू असिस्ट ग्राम पंचायत ऑफिसर्स इन डेवलपिंग रियलिस्टिक एंड अचीवेबल डेवलपमेंट प्लान्स. प्रोवाइड डिसीजन सपोर्ट टूल्स फॉर आइडेंटिफाइंग पोटेंशियल प्रोजेक्ट साइट्स, एसेट ट्रैकिंग, एस्टैब्लिशिंग प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट एंड असेसिंग प्रोजेक्ट इम्पैक्ट. अगला साइबर सुरक्षित भारत इनिशिएटिव. द नेशनल ई गवर्नेंस डिसीजन NEGD Division of Ministry of Electronic and Information Technology (MAITRI) recently organized the 40th Chief Information Security Officers CISO Deep Dive Training Program under the Cyber Surakshit Bharat Initiative. About National E-Governance Division NEGD क्या है, तो established in 2009 by the MAITRI. The NEGD and Independent Business Division under the Digital India Corporation erstwhile Media Lab Asia and has been playing a pivotal role in supporting MAITRI in program management and implementation of e-governance project, providing technological and advisory support to ministries, departments both at central and state level along with other governmental organizations. It has developed and is managing several national public digital platforms such as DigiLocker, Umang, API Setu, Poshan Tracker, Academic Bank of Credits, National Academic Depository, National AI Portal, India Stock Global etc. अगला साइबर सुरक्षित भारत इनिशिएटिव. It is the first public-private partnership PPP model of its kind launched by MAITRI in cooperation with NEGD and various industry parameters like Microsoft, Intel etc. to fortify India's cyber security system with ranked to the government's vision of Digital India. This initiative includes National Information Center NIC, Computer Emergency Response Team India CERTIN and Center for Development of Advanced Computing CDAC are knowledge partner from the government side. Objective क्या था, to spread awareness about cyber crime and build the capacity of Chief Information Security Officer Cisco and frontline IT officials across all government departments. अगला है NCRB 2022 रिपोर्ट ऑन क्राइम इन इंडिया. The National Crime Record Bureau (NCRB) recently released its annual report titled "Crime in India" for the year 2022, which provide a big picture of both trades in crime registration, as it includes data ranging from crime against women to economic and financial crime. About NCRB, क्या है, established in 1986, NCRB functions under the Ministry of Home Affairs, headquartered in New Delhi, as a cleaning housing of information on crime and criminals, operating at national and international level. Objective क्या है इसका, तो to provide training facility to crime record bureau personnel, catch the data processing and training need for computerization of central police organization, to function as the national storehouse of fingerprint, record of suspected person including foreigner and help trace interstate criminals. फंक्शन इसका क्या है तो टू स्टोर कोऑर्डिनेट एंड डिसेमिनेट इंफॉर्मेशन ऑन इंटरस्टेट एंड इंटरनेशनल criminal among states, national investigating agencies, court and prosecutor to collect and process crime statistics at the national level, to receive from the supply data to panel and correlation agencies for remand, parole, premature release etc. to coordinate, guide and assist the state crime record bureau. Achievement क्या है तो it monitored, coordinated and implemented the crime and criminal tracking network and system CCTNS project in 2009. In 2017, it launched the National Digital Police Portal, which allows police officers to look for a criminal or suspect on the CCTNS database and give citizen and services such as online complaint filing etc. NCRV with the National Informatics Center NIC implements interoperable criminal justice system ICJS to enable seamless transfer of data and information. रिपोर्ट पब्लिश में क्या है तो क्राइम इन इंडिया, रिपोर्ट ऑन मिसिंग वुमेन एंड चाइल्ड इन इंडिया, प्रिजन स्टैटिस्टिक्स इंडिया, एकेडमिकल एक्सीडेंटल डेथ एंड सुसाइड. अब अगला इंटरनेशनल न्यूज़, उसमें पहला है वाशिंगटन डिक्लेरेशन. तो इन अप्रैल 2023 साउथ कोरिया प्रेसिडेंट यून सुक Yeol arrived in the US to commemorate the 70th anniversary of US-South Korea bilateral relations. The highlight of the visit was the signing of the Washington Declaration as the nuclear deterrence strategy. Key highlight of the Washington Declaration क्या है तो as per the agreement, an American nuclear ballistic submarine would be deployed in the Korean Peninsula. A nuclear consultative group would be formed to formulate principle of joint response tactics. South Korea would receive intel from the US regarding nuclear advancement, and US will strengthen South Korea's nuclear deterrence capabilities through joint military training program and an annual intergovernmental stimulation. Conflict between North Korea and South Korea. क्या conflict है तो देखते हैं. After World War II, USA and USSR were to decide what should be done with their enemies Japan imperial possession. In August 1945, Korean Peninsula was divided into half along the 30th parallel. The Russian occupied the area north of the line, and the United States occupied the area to its south. In 1950, North Korea invaded South Korea, starting the 3-year Korean War. As a result, American troops had entered the war in South on South Korea's behalf. Finally, in July 1953, the Korean War came to an end by signing of the Armistice Agreement in 1953. Since the signing of the Armistice Agreement, North Korea and South Korea have been divided by a 4-kilometer wide demilitarized zone stretching 250 kilometers. अगला है इंडिया टू ट्रेन ASEAN women in United Nations peacekeeping operations. To further expand the India-ASEAN tie, the Raksha Mantri has announced initiative for women in US peacekeeping operations. This proposal were made at the inaugural India-ASEAN Defense Ministry meeting held in November 2022 at Siem Reap, Cambodia. In all, 20 peacekeepers, 2 from each member state, would be trained. UN peacekeeper provides security and the political and peace building support to help countries make the difficult yearly transition from conflict to peace. There are 3 basic principles that continue to set UN peacekeeping operations apart as a tool for maintaining international peace and security: consent of the parties, impartiality and non-use of force except in self-defense and defense of the mandate. Role of Security Council क्या है तो the United Nations Charter give the United Nations Security Council the responsibility to maintain international peace. The Security Council authorizes peacekeeping operations through Chapter 7 authorization. Financing क्या है तो all UN member states share the cost of peacekeeping. The General Assembly apportions these expenses based on a special scale of assessment, taking into account the relative economic wealth of member state, with the permanent member of the Security Council required to pay a larger share. UN peacekeepers are often referred to as blue berets or blue helmets because of their light blue berets or helmets. Present status क्या है? तो there are currently 12 UN peacekeeping operations deployed. For its service, UN peacekeeping has also received the Nobel Prize in 1988. अगला इंडिया यूरोपियन फ्री ट्रेड एसोसिएशन EFTA ट्रेड पैक्ट. India and the four nation bloc EFTA recently discussed way to resume negotiation for free trade agreement with a view to strengthening economic tie between two regions. About European Free Trade Association क्या है? तो EFTA क्या है? तो it is an intergovernmental organization established in 1960 by the Stockholm Convention. Objective क्या है? तो promote free trade and economic integration between its member with Europe and globally. EFTA currently has 4 member countries: Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway and Switzerland. The EFTA countries have developed one of the largest network of free trade agreement FTAs. These FTAs span over 60 countries and territories, including the European Union (EU). In contrast to the EU, EFTA is not a custom union. This means that the individual EFTA states are free to set their own custom tariff and arrange other foreign trade measures via the non-EFTA state. गवर्नेंस स्टेटस क्या है? तो EFTA हाईएस्ट गवर्निंग बॉडी इज द EFTA काउंसिल. इट जनरली मीट 8 times a year at the ambassadorial level and twice a year at the ministerial level. The headquarters of EFTA secretariat is located in Geneva. EFTA Surveillance Authority ESA, it monitors compliance with European Economic Area EEA rules in Iceland, Liechtenstein and Norway. EFTA court is based on Luxembourg and has the competition and authority to settle internal and external disputes regarding the implementation, application or interpretation of EEA agreement. अगला है इजराइल फ़लस्तीन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. तो इसे हम लोग अगले वीडियो लेक्चर में करेंगे. इस वीडियो लेक्चर को यहीं पर समाप्त करते हैं. उम्मीद है आपको यह वीडियो पसंद आया होगा. आप लोग कमेंट बॉक्स में ज़रूर बताएंगे आपको हमारी ये पहल कैसी लगी और आप इसे कितने लाभान्वित हुए हैं. तो मिलते हैं आपसे अगले वीडियो लेक्चर में. तब तक के लिए वीडियो को पढ़ते रहे, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा रिवाइज़ करें और वीडियो को जरूर शेयर करें उन लोगों तक जो इस बार का UPSC एग्जाम देने वाले हैं. तो मिलते हैं आपसे अगले वीडियो लेक्चर में. तब तक के लिए जय हिंद, जय भारत. रिवाइज़ करते रहें, पढ़ते रहें और एग्ज़ाम में अच्छा परफॉर्म करने की कोशिश करें.